Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's late night Q&A with ZodWriter. This is going to be a fantastic episode. I have the pleasure and the privilege of welcoming Kristen Steps from the Steps Gaming YouTube channel to late night Q&A. And as you all know, late night Q&A is a very, very positive live stream. It's my way of getting to know people on a very kind-hearted and open level. Sometimes I ask the hard questions, and sometimes we just have a very organic and fun conversation. Welcome to the stream, Kristen Steps. It's great to see you. It's great to have you here.
It's fantastic. You know what, ZodWriter? You finally get to speak with Steps. I'm
I
so
finally do.
excited.
I'm excited. This is beautiful. I don't know what I've like Sosa fam Bam Bam in the chat. What's up, Sosa? I love Sosa. He's so
He's
awesome.
he's he's great. Sosa and I ride or die. I've said that before on several streams. He's somebody I talk to every day.
Yeah, he's
Every day.
he's a great dude. And he says, I've been waiting all week for this. Woohoo. Listen, Sosa, I've been waiting all week for this too. And I kind of thought, you know what's funny, Steps? I thought like initially when I first asked you to be on the show, I thought I kind of got the impression that you thought I was joking with you. And I was like, no, these are when I bring a person on here, it's like, no, it's really serious to me. I take late night Q&A very serious. It's the main like live stream that I do on my channel. It's my main thing. So if I invite you to come on late night Q&A, it is because you're somebody that I really, really want to talk to. And right off the bat, before we get into anything, I want to say thank you so much for reaching out to me when you were a part of Laundromat Wars, because that's how I met you. You started messaging me through, through your connection with Laundromat Wars, and you had reached out to me to get me to come on an episode of Laundromat Wars, and it was really, really a great time, and I was really happy to join that stream, and I was thankful for you and all the the great energy that you brought to Laundromat Wars. And I remember that night that I was on that stream that I was on. I don't know if anybody realizes this, but I was sick as a dog that night. I was
Oh man.
really feeling bad. I had like a flu bug or something, and I don't know. You might have been able to hear it in my voice because my voice was really kind of dragging and kind of groggy a little bit, and it was because I was tired. And I had taken like a bunch of like medicine to like pump myself up. I was on like Dayquil while we were doing the show, but by the end of the show, I had completely crashed, and I was really like out of it by the time that it was, and I could barely play any video games, but it was still a fun stream, and it was still a lot of fun. And
Yeah, that shows a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and even sitting right next to me right now, I still haven't moved it. I got Street Fighter the movie, the game, the Blu-ray steelbook.
I've got the Blu-ray Steelbook on my shelf as well. I think the producers of that Steelbook owe all of you a debt of gratitude, because I think you sold that Steelbook
Yeah.
to just about everybody in the home arcade community. We all bought it. I mean, I bought it, and I was like, and the thing was, I liked the movie anyway, but I'd already owned the movie. I already had the movie digitally in my collection, and I really wasn't planning on buying a physical copy. But so many of you were talking about the Steelbook, and it came with the Bison books, and I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna be awesome. And I just like totally bought into the hype, and like
Yeah.
ordered the Blu-ray the next day. And it was just like I don't know. But see, that's how these things work. Like it's
Yeah.
word of mouth, and it's like a really, extreme kind of excitement, when
Yeah.
so many of the people you talk to is into one particular thing, like Street Fighter the movie, the game.
I'll tell you what, that was all that was, that whole tournament, the whole experience on Laundromat Wars or Street Fighter, the movie, the game, was just like, I think people were joking around. I guess Sosa and OTG were joking around about Street Fighter, the movie, the game. And like it ended up being a thing, and then I think we all just decided we're going all in on Street Fighter the movie, the game, and it was just it was a good time. Now I sounded like I was a complete shill for this movie, but I don't know. I was having a good time. That's all it was about. And if I think about the things that like I and like I remember the most about Laundromat Wars, or like the best things that I think the two things I think about as my favorite parts was the Street Fighter, the movie, the game tournament for me when I was on that show, and the other one that I did that was my favorite was the pineapple farm when everybody was all of us were working at the
I was just
pineapple
gonna
farm.
say,
That was my
I was just
favorite.
gonna say, nobody does pineapples better than the Laundromat Wars. And I mean, I remember like the intro that you made for me the night that I came on, and I did my little thing, and you had all the you cut all the clips together of all the pineapple commercials and the little kids, pineapples, pineapples. It was just great. To me, that I can't think of pineapples now without thinking about Laundromat Wars. It is ingrained in my brain now, because I like to drink the pineapple Perrier water. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite water bottle flavored bottled water to buy, and I can't look at it and drink it seriously without thinking fondly of Laundromat Wars, and I enjoy it so much. And it was just like, an honor to be a part of it all. And like I said, bring so much to it and brought so much to it. And the whole, idea of the way you made it seem like it was just like this huge, you know, top tier tournament kind of a thing with with the announcing that you did and the introductions and things like that. It was an awesome experience. And to me, I kind of felt I felt really good because I was like, wow, this is one of those things where even if I had actually thought this, but I'd never verbalized it or typed it out. But I'm like, even if Steps ends up leaving Laundromat Wars someday, she'll end up doing her own thing, and she'll bring just as much energy and high, that high energy and top tier talent to whatever you do. And so to me, these are the kinds of things that I was thinking, and I've been completely excited ever since. And then when you made that announcement about what you have planned coming up, I literally was thinking, my God, the prophecy that I had in my head has come true. Look at what's about to happen. And again, that's just a testament, to how awesome you are. And we've got
Yeah.
Bobby Boo here, clean like a mother. Yeah, yeah,
Bo-
yeah.
Bobby Vu, to die for mods. He's the king of mods.
He
No,
is.
nobody beats a Bobby Vu. And I'm just gratefully, I'm really honored that I get to talk to Bobby on a regular basis. It's just he's just a really
Oh yeah,
awesome guy.
Bobby will forever be a part of my life. I mean, I am one of those people that I look at Bobby, and I am so honored just to know Bobby and to actually have a Mortal Kombat Bobby Vucade. I feel like I am one of the few, elite in the world. And I look at Bobby, and I'm just like, Bobby is so amazing. And there's never been a time, in my life where I've ever thought, man, this community is filled with so many like wonderful people. Like Bobby's just, and you see people, you see people like Bobby, and you see people in the community, and you see all of this, because we're a very small community. Steps,
Yeah.
we're not super huge. See, this is why everybody knows each other. This is why we're all so, it's all very close knit, because there's not that many. When we talk about, the home arcade or retro arcade community. It's very, very small, but it's cool. I mean, it's beautiful to be a part of it. And
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw there was a comment from Console Fanboy, and I've seen many comments from Console Fanboy, but I want to say I think Console Fanboy, he's so energetic and passionate about the community.
I
Like
know.
that's why we get all these comments all the time. Console Fanboy is because he's just so passionate about the
I feel
games,
like
about
with
everyone
console
in the
fanboy,
community.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
with console fanboy, he is. I look at console fanboy like a brother. I feel like I've known console fanboy all my life. We have become, like family over the last couple of years, and we've really, him and I have really gotten to know each other. And I don't, and so I'm always when it comes to console fanboy, I'm always ready to defend him no matter what, because he's just become such an important part of my life. I consider him to be family. And so when anything that he puts out, it's like, I guess because he has a great sense of humor. He's a comedian, he's a talented musician. And I think more people would get console fanboy if they just stopped taking everything so seriously and looked at what he does as satirical comedy, music. And if they looked at it and didn't take it so seriously, then he would have a lot more fans. Because once people realize that he's trying to be funny, or he's got music, he's very talented, he's trying to bring this community out in a more mainstream way. And once people get that, and once people see that, you know
yeah,
it's hard not to look at console fanboy and be like, yeah, he gets it. He's not trying, he's not going at things with malice. He's not trying to hurt people's feelings. He's not trying to uh you know denigrate the community in any way. He's actually trying to lift it up and trying to make everybody laugh and trying to give people something funny to look forward to, or a new song, or whatever have you. And it all intersects, and it's all very good. And I've always looked at it as being very, very positive. I don't care what he sings about, I don't care what he makes the video about. I support it all, because to me, I think it's funny, and I think it's good for the community. I think it's comedy. And when you see it like that, because some of the best comedians in the world are the most misunderstood people. People just don't get comedy. Comedy nowadays has kind of fallen off from where it was years ago. I mean, comedians are afraid to get on stage and open their mouths these days, whereas before, nothing was off limits, and it was okay to just be funny, and people understood that when a comedian is on stage, or a comedian is in a movie, they're just trying to be funny.
yeah.
But we don't get that now, because everybody is so sensitive and so worried about offending this person, offending that person, hurting this person's feelings, or whatever. And to me, it's just, you got to lighten up a little bit. There's enough negativity in the world. And when you have this sweet little community that's trying to be positive, and trying to carve out a niche with our love for these overly priced arcade machines, we should all just be, we should all just be happy in our. And it's kind I like to use the word, like this little, like we're in this little bubble, and we should all
Yeah.
just be happy in our little bubble. I don't know, how do you feel about all that, steps? I mean,
Well, like you have to. I think the most important thing to see right now when you so Mrs. Sosa Fam Bam, let's go Steps. The Sosas are fantastic, but anyway, I think that you need to look like say something puts you a little off, right? And you're like, I don't know, or like somebody makes you mad. Maybe you need to look at it as what's their intent? What is their intention? Who are they? Like, look at the whole picture, and you know, try to assume the good. And then if something happens that, you know, maybe it's not, then you gotta evaluate. You know, you gotta evaluate, how do I settle this or handle this the best I can, right? And so that's all I gotta say. I
Well,
think
this is a
assume
great comment. This is a great comment here, Steps. And
yeah.
Steps is a pillar in the fighting game community. Can't wait for her show to start. Getting Big Blue just for it. Now, you see, right there is that's a huge endorsement right there,
It
Steps.
is.
And I'm going to tell you something like this. I never thought in my life that I would get a Big Blue cabinet, but I think I'm going to get one just so that I can participate in this in your.
You need to look tomorrow. I'm hoping they put one up so some more people could get in on it, right? Because we got the new Capcom Legacies that were announced. Those are gonna be
Those are
those are gonna
disgusting,
you don't like them,
in
okay?
my opinion. In my opinion,
I I think that they look more like the originals, because if you look at the originals cabinets, they were ugly. They're these big black ugly cabinets. They had the marquee, you know, but I could see why. I mean, look at the art, you look at the stuff, you go, that doesn't look like the original cabinet. But if it was all black, people would complain it's all black. So I don't know, but what I'll tell you is there's a cabinet for you, whether it's Big Blue, whether it's the Super
well, I'll
Turbo,
tell
or
you a story of a cabinet that ticked me off. I was super excited. QVC was having this amazing sale on these arcade one-up partycades.
yeah.
And the partycade that I had tried, because a friend of mine had it, I had tried the Defender partycade. And
Everyone says that's good.
I was super excited for the Defender partycade. I fell in love with it. I wanted it. And QVC had this awesome sale. They were charging $124 for it.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
this is
a steal,
the one
right?
P-Dubs bought live on stream.
I ordered it. I ordered it that night when that
Yeah.
sale. The same. I think I ordered it the same night P Dubs ordered it. Right.
Yeah.
And I ordered it. Everything was cool. I ordered it on the 23rd of June. I got a notification from QVC saying that it shipped on the 30th. But when I clicked to check my tracking to see where it was at, because they said it was allegedly coming via UPS,
Yeah.
I clicked on the tracking, and I got this red label. Please call the 1-800 number because there's no tracking information available. So I ended up going back and forth with QVC because this never changed. So this went on for like a week, and I never received the partycade. And I finally, so today was the final time I talked to them, and they said, yeah, we don't know what happened. It might have gotten scanned or something, that it was shipped, but maybe it wasn't shipped because we don't have any tracking information for it. So all they could do was refund me. So I never got that cabinet, and it really hurt my feelings because I really wanted that Defender cab. I was super hyped for it. I'm a big Sinistar fan. And I wanted, and Sinistar is included. It was included in that lineup, and I really wanted to be able to play it on a cabinet that was set up for those particular types of games. I was super excited, and yeah, it doesn't look like I'm gonna get the Defender party kit.
I never heard of Sinistar until like a couple months back, and I don't know if you saw this video, the video of the person that was in love with the Sinistar cabinet. Like literally in love with the Sinistar cabinet. I was like, oh wow. But anytime somebody says that game, it makes me think of that video because that's how I was introduced to that game.
Oh, I love Sinistar. I grew up playing
what's
Sinistar.
It like? What's the closest thing is like? Because I really don't know.
It's kind of like Asteroids with a really, really serious edge, because you're shooting at instead of shooting at asteroids, you're shooting at crystals. You're basically mining these crystals in space so that you're able to actually you're able to defend against this massive enemy, okay, that will literally eat your ship. It is the scariest villain of video game history. It is creepy as heck. I'm actually surprised that a movie or TV series has not been made based off of Sinistar, because I think that Sinistar would be crazy for like a sci-fi horror movie. I mean, because it's just so menacing, and when you hear the voice, you know, and you hear the menacing voice of the Sinistar thing coming at you. Oh, it's he says, "I am alive," and it's like it is so. And he tells you to run. He's like, "Run, run!" Oh, it is scary, and it gives you chills every time you hear it. It is the creepiest game in the world, and I was like, but that's the thing. This Defender Partycade has it on there, and I was so excited. I was like, man, I can't wait. I'm gonna be playing Sinistar all day, every day. I can't wait. And like it's I mean, because I just wanted to be able to play it in that, in that form factor. I was super excited. But yeah, I mean it's maybe one of these days Arcade One Up will put out a dedicated Sinistar CAD.
Could I want to go back to Console Fanboy's comment here. He says he can't wait for my show to start. What I realized in formulating this show, right? Because it's focusing on One Up and Capcom games, and the reason I did it, or I'm doing it, is because so many people missed playing those games together, right? There's been less people in the lobbies on the cabinets. There hasn't been a home location to like get together and play those games. So I hate calling it my show. I mean, conceptually, it's mine. I'm kind of a facilitator, so to speak. Like, it's really a community show. It's a show for the community. So, like, I've been talking to members of the community, taking their ideas, things like that. I got a team of people that are coming on the show. We got Sosa, of course. Sosa
Of course.
has to, and Mike of All Trades agreed to come on the show. And I'm just overjoyed with the team that we have set up to bring the community their events on their Arcade One Ups that on a weekly basis we've been missing, right? So
Yeah,
that's all
that's
I wanted to
awesome.
say. I wanted to make sure people knew, that I see myself in a facilitating role, and I get to be creative in a lot of ways, but like I don't want it to be my show. I want it to be community show,
It
if that
is
makes
going to be a
sense.
community show, though,
Yeah.
because you have to remember you're coming from a place where all of these, shows start off with that intention of being community shows, and then they become different things, and they go off, and they become bigger, and they become larger than life, and they become entities of their own. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think the idea of coming back to it being a community show and something that's going to bring people together in a positive way is a wonderful idea, and I'm 100% on board. I can't wait. This is what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
positivity. You and I were talking a little bit about this prior to the show, and again, positivity is very, very important. Let's see here. Let's check in with the chat for a moment. Mike Hawk says, Sharon Peters said she was going to be here, but had to jump in the shower real quick. Okay. And Console Fanboy says, dude, she's mine, Mike. LOL. I, I will say this, Console Fanboy, if you and Sharon Peters are currently in a real relationship, I think that's great. I think that's a win-win for the community.
I I
Actually,
I gotta say something.
kudos.
You haven't made it till Sharon Peters comes on something, on your show, or like Sharon Peters is
Well, allegedly, we're going to, me and Sharon have kind of been going back and forth about me possibly getting Sharon on this show.
yeah.
So, and she tweeted it out herself. So I think it'll happen one of these days. It'll either be a late night Q&A or it'll be a live from the couch. I don't know what it'll be yet. But Fighters Evolution is here. What's up, Fighters Evo? Yes, sir. You buy it
For
just
the
for the bison dollar.
bison
Yeah,
bucks.
again. But I will say this: the steel book itself is a beautiful steel book. It
It
actually looks
is.
really great. It's actually really nice. I love the
Yeah.
artwork. I love the
I-
style of the steel book.
If you
So
don't have it, it's right. You can get it. It's still available.
it's on Amazon. I mean,
You get your
everybody, basically
bison
everybody in
bucks.
the everybody in the home arcade community probably already has it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
If I gotta say this, and I already told this to you, AG. If they revisit Street Fighter the movie, the game, and I'm not a part of that, that's just crap.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, isn't there when you do your new show, what's stopping you from doing something with Street Fighter the movie, the game?
Well, there's no one up
You
that's Street
you
Fighter the movie, the
could.
game.
No, but I mean,
I'm not gonna. Here's the thing. Like I'm gonna stay in this lane for right now. Like
okay.
the lane is gonna be. We've been missing one up. You know, Blast has graciously run several tournaments that have been really successful. They're longer tournaments. I'm looking for something shorter, sweeter, fun, something weekly, so it's different. But um, like I'm gonna stick to that lane, and we're gonna see how that ride is, because I just want to stick to the plan right now. But will I ever do Fight Cade again? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I will I collab with the
Fightcade
long.
is nice.
Well,
Fightcade is nice.
it is nice,
I'm
and
not going to
I
complain. I like Fightcade. I mean, I had problems with it at first, but now it's grown on me, and I really do like it. And I can't say anything bad about Fightcade anymore.
Fightcade's great. I do stream on Fightcade on my own. I usually with Soso. I don't know if you noticed,
In the
but
middle of the
back
night.
on Sunday night at 4 a.m. or whatever it was, we were streaming Neo Turf Masters. And
If you
I was
have
I was
insomnia
so
and you can't sleep, Steps Gaming and Sosa do Fightcade in the middle of the night, and that will help you go to sleep. It really does help. And I'm not saying that negatively at all. I'm just stating a fact, because I remember one night I was in your chat when you and Sosa were doing it, and I was typing, and then I wasn't typing. I'd fallen asleep, and when I woke up, my head was on my keyboard, and I knew it was time for me to go to bed.
yeah.
So yeah, you guys kind of facilitate that late night crowd, because I'm a night owl. I like to be up late, so sometimes that's that kind of stuff will appeal to me if I'm not too tired. But yeah, but there's no way I'm gonna be on Fightcade at 4 a.m. though, because at that point I can barely function, but I'm still awake.
I was barely functioning. We got on at 2 a.m. to play Street. I was like, we're just gonna play Street Fighter the movie, the game, and we're out. And we're playing Street Fighter the movie, the game, and then it turned into, oh, we need to play World Heroes
You play
Perfect.
World Heroes
because
Perfect, yeah.
because Moat was doing that tournament on Monday, and then after that, I heard somebody like Where's Jago is in the chat, and he goes, "You guys need to play Neo Turf Masters." And Sosa was like, "I never played Neo Turf Masters," and I'm like, "That's blasphemy! We're playing Neo Turf Masters." And then I kept saying I was going to play like 9 holes, and it was 8. We played all 18. I don't know. I was so tired. I was so
well,
tired.
I mean, everybody loves Neo Turf Masters, so I can't.
It's a good game.
Can't argue with that. The console fanboy says, I'm nervous to see Bobby again tomorrow. He's such a force. It's like seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi in person. I agree with you. If I were to meet Bobby, I would probably be feeling the same way. What are you hanging out with Bobby tomorrow for? What's the occasion you guys are doing tomorrow, console fanboy? Fighters Evo says hashtag Ukraine strong. Console fanboy. Ricardo here says, watching chat here to support my homegirl Steps. There you go.
War has been a long time friend, because I met him. It's part of the Marvel Capcom community. He's one of the first people I met, and we talk most days, and he's a good guy.
Yeah, we got console fanboy saying, please call me Sharon. Well, let's hope that that relationship is not on the rocks already.
Is Sharon supposed to call him, or are we supposed to call him Sharon now? Anyway.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate on it. Matthew McConaughey says, all right. We've got the great and beautiful Rhea in the chat saying, how do y'all hit that like button? Thank you, Rhea. So happy that you're here. And Rhea is giving virtual hugs to Kristen Steps, who is on the panel, of course. And let's see. Integrity 101 says, oh my god,
But Sharon Peters
the
was
chat
console
just
fanboy.
yeah, I thought no. Okay, no more and no more. I'm blushing. Thank you. And of course, and the great Bobby Vu is shouting you out, Steps Gaming. We've got some chats here, and we've got the great Sharon Peters.
Yes, I made it
in the chat. You have made it. This stream is going to be legendary now because again, Sharon Peters, every stream that she blesses becomes a phenomenon. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, like I said, if Sharon Peters is in your chat, you've made it. You made it.
Yeah,
you're good.
I love Sharon Peters. I don't even, it is just one of those things. It's like it got to the point for me where I was like, I got to make Sharon Peters a mod because I want to know every time Sharon Peters comes in here. I don't want people, it's like I don't want nobody messing with Sharon Peters, And Rhea says, what's up, everybody? Good vibes. Sorry, I'm late. Was trying to stream some, what? Stream some Kiana? Cleona? I don't know what that word is. I'm sorry. Maybe it's my glasses foggy. I don't know what you're saying, but I'm just glad you're here. That's awesome. And Console Fanboy says, hey, girlfriend. And Sharon Peters says, talking about being misunderstood. I am too. Yes, you are very often misunderstood. And to me, it's just because people don't get it. Again, they don't get this. They don't get that kind of humor. They don't get the sense of humor that Sharon has. Her Twitter page is fantastic. Everybody should follow. If you're not following Sharon Peters on Twitter, you are missing out. Sharon is awesome. Console Fanboy says it's like we're the same person. Sharon, LOL. Sharon says hi, Console Fanboy. Ricardo says they're cool looking, but no Deathstalkers is a
Darkstalkers. He's a big Darkstalkers fan. He's one of the best in the community at Darkstalkers, the game. It's on Big Blue. All the three original US arcade games. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, what do you think about the Capcom Fighting Collection that was recently released for consoles? Steps, how do you feel about that? Because I want to kind of get into a discussion with you about this a little bit.
I think it's got a pretty good list of games. Some of them are on Big Blue, some of them are on the new Capcom Legacy.
Some of them are not.
Some of them are not. You got Red Earth, that's not on one yet.
Red Earth needs to be on a cabinet, legitimately. That's my big gripe.
I bet you it's on your MVSX.
Oh, you know it, Steps, and we can talk a little bit about MVSX too, because again, I am an unapologetic MVSX fanboy. I love the MVSX more than any other offline cab I have, with the exception of the Mortal Kombat cabinet that Bobby Vu made for me. But with that being said, this Capcom Fighting Collection that recently came out for consoles, and Rhea did a series of awesome live streams, by the way, playing the different fighting games. I kept telling Rhea, because she was getting defeated horribly in playing those games, and I kept telling her, Rhea, you need to get a fight stick. You need to get a fight. You can't use the Switch, controls. You can't use regular game pads to play these kinds of games. You have to play with a fight stick, and you will appreciate it. They will feel a lot better. They will be a lot more fun. It'll be a lot more organic for you. You'll be a lot better. And I have a big issue with this stuff, because I say, if they can release a collection on consoles that has all these great titles, that fighting collection could very easily be a cabinet.
Well,
so why not do a cabinet version of that release? I mean, to me, that would be amazing. And you could have Capcom art on the side, and it could just be like a Capcom collection, and it could be a cabinet set up, like a special, a commemorative kind of Capcom cabinet, right?
I agree with you, and I could tell you why it won't happen. If you want me to, I'll tell you why it won't happen. I think
please.
So here's why that's not going to happen, right? They being Arcade One Up, has to intentionally pick what games are on their cabinets, right? For multiple reasons. One's going to be you have to have a game selection that the retailer will take. You also have to have a game selection that doesn't stop you from selling another cabinet again with different titles, right? Because they're going to release a version every year. Like their big plan, with their marquee titles like Street Fighter, like Mortal Kombat, the big Pac-Man, of course, Pac-Man, is to just release those titles, every year
Of
as a
course,
new
Pac-Man.
version. And if they get slightly different games on them, you might buy it again, right? Which it's okay. It's
Partycade.
it's so like if you enjoy the arcade aspect of it and you want to see Arcade One Up succeed, which I think we all do because we like their product, then yeah, you're gonna get a certain amount of games and they're gonna be politically placed, and it's just the matter of what it is. But I will say that so far, I mean, they've done a really good mix, especially on Big Blue. I think the new Legacy, Capcom Legacy, has a good mix too. It doesn't have Darkstalkers, but has that Cyberbots game. So it's got some more fighting games. It's got Final Fight as opposed to Knights of the Round. So, politically they're trying to balance the cabs, get you to keep buying them. I this is it is what it is, right? But I think you're right though. It would be cool to have the fighting collection on one cab, and you got all those games. I think the game lineup is pretty good. I like it. They didn't give you so much Street Fighter that it would stop you from buying the Street Fighter collection. Still, right? They just give you, I think, Hyper,
Well, I had
which
the 30th. I think it's either the 25th or 30th
it's
anniversary
the 30th one
Street
for
Fighter
PS4.
for PS4. That's the one I had, and
Yeah,
I still have it, and it's great because it's got all the games that I like on it. So I would never. So for me, for that very reason, I'd never buy a Capcom Legacy cabinet unless it had some of those titles that are in that fighting collection. I want to give a special shout out to Rainwater Games. Rainwater Games, it's great to see you here in the chat, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Haven't talked to you in a while. I hope things are going good
he's
for
a
you.
great guy.
Yeah, he definitely is. And Sharon Peters says, let's be honest, 99% of people on Twitter are so boring and unoriginal. I couldn't agree more. And Rhea is speaking my language. My God, I love Rhea. Rhea is amazing. If Arcade One Up releases a Red Earth cabinet, oh my effing God. Yes, that's what I want. I want a Red Earth. And I want it, and I actually would prefer it rather than it being the 3/4 scale. I would prefer if they do a Red Earth, I want it to be a partycade so that it has 12 different titles on it, and it's and I'm gonna hang it from my bathroom door. I don't know. I do want but I guess that's my thing. I guess I do want a Red Earth cabinet, and I guess I'm a little bit salty because that collection came out, and I thought, man, I got so many different ways to play these games. Do I really want to buy that collection again? I mean, I would get it if it was a cabinet, but I wouldn't get it if it was in a cabinet in the shape of a Mortal Kombat Midway arcade machine. It would have to be a Capcom machine.
Again, I'm gonna take the approach John D's taken, right? Because those games, Capcom just made they use these boring black cabinets. They really had no art or design to them. They stuck the marquee on it and put a sticker on the control panel, and they said, "Okay, here's Super Turbo." And then next year, it was a Street Fighter Alpha. It wasn't. They didn't do a very. They're not like Big Blue, right? Big Blue was very original, very
They should have
unique.
just did another Big Blue, another variation on Big Blue then.
Yeah, because Big Blue's changed a lot too, just like those black cabinets. But I know what John D's trying to do with the black cabinet.
Yeah.
I think it's fine for me. Some people don't like it. I think if you don't have a Big Blue yet, you might get a good deal tomorrow. Hopefully, if not, the new cab is a good
Hey, I
option.
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. I think the Big Blue is nice. I just don't know where exactly I would put a Big Blue, but Papa Brad's Gaming says they sold out. It was a great deal. If you are talking about the
Defender Party Cade.
Defender Partycade, you are 100% correct. It is a fantastic deal at $124 with like 5 like flex pay payments of like $25 or something. I seriously want that so bad, and it bothers me. I mean, because now I don't know how I'm gonna get it, because I'm not gonna pay full price for that Defender cab when I could have had it for $124. There's just no way. It's just not happening. Yes, I want it, but it's not that serious. Like, I mean,
I think you might see that price point again. You know, if the
yeah.
I saw that Walmart had Miss Pac-Man 40th Partycade today for $99.99.
Right. Like, now if I saw it 99.99, yeah, I'd be all over that. I think that's another great deal. But for to pay almost, and I mean, if you look at what they're trying to sell these Defender Partycades for on eBay, it's completely ridiculous. You're looking at $300, $350. It's like, give me a break. There's no way it was being sold on QVC for $124. Come
Well,
on,
now
people.
QVC's out, and they were the main holders of the
Oh
Partycade.
my
So
God. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I don't know. I don't know what happened to mine. I don't know where it ended up in the ether somewhere. And I'm waiting for P Dubs to do a video. So I don't think P Dubs has gotten his yet either, because he ordered it the same night that I did. So I wonder if he went through the same thing that I did, where they claim they shipped it, but there's no evidence that it was actually shipped. I don't know.
I gotta tell you one of my YouTube goals right now, because I see this comment, endless one up. You know, he's saying hi to people. But one of my goals is to collab sometime with Endless One Up, because I think he's absolutely hilarious. I like his
You
cartoons.
need to.
I love it. I want, something about me, deep cut about me, is when I was in junior high, I did a cartoon strip for the newspaper. Okay. I always thought, maybe I want to be a cartoonist when I was like,
Awesome.
fifth, sixth grade. That did, that's not what I was meant to do, but, yeah, I greatly admire his stuff.
Yeah, Endless One Up is awesome, and I've also had Endless One Up on late night Q&A before. So yeah, he's definitely a lot of fun, and he does a lot of entertaining live streams and videos. And again, your cartoons, Endless One Up, are fantastic. You need to really get back into that. I know that he took a little bit of a few of that stuff down, some of that stuff down, because he was getting criticism and things like that. But at the end of the day, dude, you're talented. You should not be afraid to show those talents and let them flourish, regardless of the criticisms that you
Look,
get. Because guess what?
yeah.
You're not going to please everybody. Nobody. This is what I've learned too. Stop caring what people think. Who cares at the end of the day? If you are comfortable in what you're doing, and you've got, you're not your support, your support group, and you got you're going to have your fan base with whatever you do. You're going to have your friends, you're going to have your people. Those are the only people that really really matter at the end of the day, because everybody else that's criticizing and talking crap, they don't really care about you anyway. And the funny thing is, they're still going to watch you because they hate you. So they're still going to give you that they're still going to give you that engagement. That's the twist. So to
If
me, I've stopped caring what people think
That's
completely.
something I've had to come to terms with,
Mhm.
you're doing it right when you have lovers and haters, right?
Yep,
Because you start
absolutely.
questioning oh, am I doing it right? Because you have haters, right? But if you're doing it right, you're gonna have lovers and haters, right? If you suck at it, you're probably just gonna have haters.
That's right. That is 100% right. And Rainwater Games giving shout outs to everybody here. Uh, let's see. And we've got everybody's shouting out Rainwater Games, which they should be doing, because Rainwater Games is a good dude. Jeff is a good dude, and Matthew McConaughey is back again. All right, all right, all right. Yeah. So I love that comment. It just he pops up just randomly whenever feels like it has something to say. Uh, but everybody's kind of And speaking of, your partner, since Endless One Up is decided to bring up Sosa Fam Bam Bam. Speaking of your partner in crime, Ride or Die, how did you meet Sosa? What's your connection like?
Oh man,
How
see,
did you guys
I,
get connected in the way that you are right now?
well, we talked. We talked for like a long time over just messages over Facebook or whatever. I think he messaged me. I don't know, but we talked and we just talked for a long time, and I can't remember the exact date. But what I'll tell you is when I got uh like a better, like a good, really good relationship with Sosa was when we did that retro fight game community show that was on that other show, and and I was told, hey, you're gonna have a promo battle and a matchup with Sosa, right?
Okay.
And Sosa goes, I don't want to do it. We're friends, we're talking here, we're chatting, and I was like, Sosa, this is our chance to make it on YouTube. you know this is great shit, and we got to do this, and we got to do it perfect, right? And we had a lot of ups and downs to that process. Some of it, we got mad at each other, this or that, and we all came out of it in the end. And I think it was that experience that like really like made me realize, hey, Sosa's a really good friend, because if we could
Yeah.
survive that, if then ride or die, right?
Yeah, Sosa, I have to say, he's a great guy, and I love his positivity too. Like he never like Sosa is so cool. Sosa doesn't need to downplay anybody because he's all about the positivity and just about, you know, the fun of everything. And he's just straight up awesome. One of the most positive guys
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Like it's awesome. I can't say enough great things about him. Rainwater Games will give you nightmares. I assume you're talking about Sinistar. Yeah, definitely. Sinistar's 80s hard. I live, run, coward. Yes, yes. Sinistar is insane. Um,
I could tell that you and Papa Brad's are slightly older than me just because of the games you guys like. You can always tell, like,
well,
oh,
I have this connection with Sinistar because I used to have a Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and it was on one of those
oh,
compilations.
really?
Uh,
Okay, maybe you are
and
about my age then.
it's sort of well, how old do you think I am? Honestly, how old do you think I am?
Well, I'm gonna say you're probably in your early to mid 40s. My guess. I'm That's where I'm at. So I'm in my early 40s.
You're in your early 40s. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna I'm I'm gonna stop you there, and I'm gonna say I'm 36 years old. So if I look like I'm in my
Wow, that's
early to mid
awesome.
40s, that's
I just thought you were based on your game choice.
based on my game choices. Okay, well that's cool. I mean, I like all sorts of games. So Ricardo here says, same here, Papa Brad. She was one of my first friends playing arcade when went up games before any of these shows even started about the cabinets. Yeah. Um, let's talk about a little bit about the MVSX because
Sure.
you want to talk about choices in
That's how I
games.
met you
Yes,
originally.
exactly. And I have been literally the biggest shill for the MVSX on the planet. And to this day, when people come to me and recommend and ask me, Zod, what do you recommend? What do you want? If I want to get an arcade cabinet and I just want to plug it in and have a good time, and I'm not looking to get online, what do you suggest I get? I always tell them MVSX, baby. It's still $4.99 after all this
It's
time.
I will say this, out of the box, it's the highest quality cabinet I've purchased. And
Exactly.
it's higher quality than my one-ups. It's higher quality than my iArcade even, okay? iArcade's a good quality cabinet. I'm not knocking the iArcade. I love the iArcade. I like the design. I feel it's slightly more quality, but they're both quality-wise pretty comparable. but I think the MVSX a little bit more, and maybe the iArcade on the sticks and buttons that come with it. But honestly,
Yes.
either one. Well, the iArcade is still the original, but I want to replace them. The MVSX I did replace them. I have hat buttons and Sanwa 6.
So I mean, I listen. I play the Simpsons on the MVSX.
I do too.
I play a lot of Capcom, great Capcom games, including Red Earth, on the MVSX, and I'm a very happy man when I do that.
I don't think there's Street Fighter the movie, the game, though. Unfortunately,
you know what? I don't think it is. I don't think it is on the MVSX.
No.
I have it on a couple of my multicades, because I have a couple multicades, and then I have the At Games Legends Gamer Pro, and I got Street Fighter the movie, the game, on there through coin ops and stuff. But no, I don't think it is. But that's fine, because everything else is. I mean, all the Street Fighters that you want to play. I mean, I even play the rainbow version of Street Fighter 2 on there. I mean,
yeah, I have it on there too. I was like, what is this? This is crap.
I'm just gonna say it, that the MVSX, again, like you said, because out of the box, it's great. You know, there's no cabinet out of the box that gives you 50 games. There's nothing like that ever.
No,
and I don't think you'll ever see that again.
No.
And when if One Up eventually gets the SNK license, you're screwed, because you're gonna get 5 games to 8 games.
I think they'll give you right now. Those legacy cabinets are getting 12, 14. I'll give them that. I bet you they'll give you 12 SNK games.
Still, you still can't beat 50.
but you're not gonna get whatchamacallit, King of Fighters 2002 and 98 on the same cabinet, because they're not gonna do that. You're gonna get 98 on one and 2002 on one, because those are the two marquee King of Fighters, right? So
yeah.
But they'll give you a mix. I think, they could. The one thing they'll do better is the online, obviously, because MVSX can't. But the MVSX is a really good cabinet. And you could put a lot of stuff on it. And if you want to code, I started programming and putting my own games like in the cabinet, and I learned a lot. It was fun. It was a fun project.
So what's a game that you put on there that you don't think other people have already put on the cabinet? What's a game?
Well, I'm sure everybody's, but I think everybody's
something that you wanted, that just you specifically had to have on there.
So actually, like, when they first did that hack, they didn't. I think maybe they gave you. I think The Simpsons was a separate download or something. It wasn't part of the pack. I think they gave me the
was part of. I think The Simpsons was part of Usagi's pack.
Yeah. So
part of the initial...
before that package, I did put on The Simpsons. I did put on Golden Axe. I put on Wrestle War. Like, a lot of the games that were on that Golden Axe cabinet, I did put those on.
Yeah.
It wouldn't play Death Adder, from what I remember, without any special coding. But that was, that was kind of the things I ran to originally. Was, can it run Turtles? It didn't. It ran Simpsons great. It ran a lot of stuff really great. All the Neo Geo
Turtles is kind of just like an anomaly, though, as to why it doesn't run it. It has something to do with something that it's searching for in the ROM that it can't find, which is why they were never able to get it to run. We've tried all sorts of different things, and it just, no matter what, Turtles will not. You can run, but you can run Turtles on the MVSX, and I'm gonna tell you right now,
I've seen it run on the MVSX, and it was run by Bill, and Bill gave it to nobody, as far as I know. So,
you know how you? No. But I'm gonna tell you the secret. I'm gonna tell you how you do it. There's a version of RetroArch you can use for the MVSX, and you can run the correct core that you need. And when you run that core, you're able to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've done it. I can play both through RetroArch.
Yeah,
it works fine.
You learn when you start looking at the code and you start messing with stuff in that MVSX, you start to realize why there's a different interface on your KIs and your Mortal Kombat cabinets than your Capcom cabinets, right? Because I'm willing to bet, knowing what I know now from messing with that cabinet, that if we get an SNK cabinet by Arcade One Up, that the interface is going to look just like those Capcom cabinets, because we already know the emulation is going to run it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can run with RetroArch on the MVSX. You can actually run a ton of stuff. You can run Nintendo. Of course, you can run you can already run Sega Genesis already, but you can run TurboGrafx 16 games. You can run some PlayStation, PC Engine, PlayStation 1. Some PlayStation 1 games will run, particularly if they're not high-end like 3D based games. But if you're trying to run like a 3D based game on the MVSX through RetroArch on PlayStation, you're going to have a problem because I believe it's because the GPU needs to be adjusted in order for it to give more power to be able to play PlayStation 1 games. I think that's what the reason is. It's something to do with the GPU. It needs to be adjusted. And if you crank it up, if we were able to figure out how to crank up the GPU power on the MVSX, we'd be able to run a lot of stuff. We'd probably even be able to run Killer Instinct.
So you're deeper into it than me at this point, because it was a fun side project, and then I kind of like, okay, I'm doing this now.
No, I'm determined to make the MVSX into the cabinet that replaces all other cabinets. I don't need anything else. I just need to figure out how to speed up the hardware. That's all. It just needs, the hardware just needs to be a little faster.
The one thing the thing I probably enjoy most about the MVSX, like if I had to list 3 things, right? And I already talked about the quality, so we'll leave that out. But like, the first one would be that I literally have every single MVS game on that cabinet, and you got a complete Neo Geo cabinet. Like if you're like if you have like a pool table room and you want an arcade or something like that, like this is a good one to have just for that reason alone.
That's right.
The other one would be is that on that cabinet I have the Japanese ROMs of Marvel's versus Street Fighter, which has Norimaru as a playable character.
Yes.
That Japanese comic guy that like I don't know if he throws his purse comedian. Or like,
yeah, he's got like a little purse or handbag, purple suit.
And it's fun, and it also has the Japanese names in it. And the reason why I'm so partial to those Japanese versions and not the US versions of X-Men versus Street Fighter and Marvel versus Street Fighter is because I had the Saturn imports, when I was like
I did too
18.
with the action
when I was in college, I was like, I had those, and like that's what I played. And I had that security card I had to put in the Saturn, and it would like break the region encryption. And then at the right time, I had to take it out and then pop in the RAM cartridge to get it to run. Now, the action replay might have ran better, but the way I learned from calling whatever company sent me this Japanese import was that. And I had to have the timing down perfect to get it to run. And yeah. But I see that was my experiences playing X-Men versus Street Fighter. And if you don't know, I think a lot of people know that's my favorite game ever. It's just my favorite game.
And it runs beautifully on the MVSX, by the way. Listen, this is the other thing. All of those games run so well on the MVSX, okay, that I mean, you don't need any other cabinet if you want to play those, unless you want to play them online.
I don't have
you can't play the Japanese versions online anyway.
Most of what drives me into far as buying these cabinets, enjoying these cabinets, is the community around them, right? And so like with the MVSX community, it's a lot of people that were wanting to hack things and like program things and get more money out of this cabinet, right? And then you got the iArcade community, and they have 2 different shows. They like talking about the games. They're very passionate. You get the community just by going on Jong and Michael streams. There's communities there. And then with the 1UP community, it's kind of split too, because it's got the side that just people that want the authentic arcade. They want it to look just like it did back in 1984 or whenever it was they had that cabinet. And then there's the people that just buy it because they want to play whatever fighting game that they love the most online. And so it's interesting because I've dabbled in all these little communities because I have all these different cabinets, and it's just interesting to see what the priority is, on each one.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, for me, I'm trying really hard to love the iArcade. I am very, very, I'm being very, very patient.
Mhm.
I'm being very, very, I don't know, like I kind of like to go up to it and kind of rub the controls and be like, you'll get there someday.
It's
It's sort of like a I don't know what to say. I love the hardware of the iArcade. I think the iArcade is awesome. I mean, they use the same buttons and sticks that Act Games uses for their products, and they're definitely higher quality than 1UP. But I, you know, there's some games on there that I really like, some classics that I have and stuff that I'm enjoying playing. I haven't really been done too much with the online aspect of it. I know the online aspect of it is still kind of in beta, and it's sort of, it's sort of still developing. But for me, I don't know, iArcade, it's nice, but no matter what they do, they need to get a top tier title. I think
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge needs to be on the iArcade. No question.
I agree with you, but
there's no reason for it not to be on there.
There's no way that John D wasn't trying to sign that to be an exclusive, even though it does not fit his brand. Like the newer titles don't really fit his brand, but I know he was going after it. That being said, it would be really good for their cabinet. But here's the interesting thing that I don't understand, right? The MVSX has an exclusive with the SNK license, but some of those SNK games are on At Games Legends on the monthly plan. So what I think is maybe if iArcade had a monthly plan, they could have the SNK games. That I think that was the only reason why, like, Arcade 1UP can't do SNK or iArcade can't do SNK, because At Games has some games, I believe.
They got a few. It's not
Yeah.
they don't have like the whole library or anything. They've got like a couple. I mean, like they got the Breakers games, right? Like Breakers Revenge.
Well, yeah, those are on the
iArcade, but they're Neo Geo.
So they don't have any King of Fighters or anything like that. So no,
on the At Games, no.
Not
unless you have coin ops and you have every game known to man.
Well, you could do that with
no.
They have see, I don't have an At Games. It's the one I don't have.
Okay.
The SNK games though are in Amazon Prime. Like you could get Amazon Gaming.
Oh yeah, I got them all on my computer.
We'll give you 50 SNK games for free. Just join up for Prime membership.
And you got all these great games, tons of them. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if iArcade, they're on their you could buy the games individually, which is cool. What if they did a membership instead? I don't know. Would they have more possibilities? Because I would do, if I was in their shoes, I would
a Game Pass kind of thing.
Yeah, I would do whatever it is they can get away with to get more marquee titles, because that's what sells the cabinets. It does.
Yeah.
And I do think they have some good titles. Because like if you buy an iArcade, right? Are you going to get at least 12 games that you would enjoy like you would if you bought the Big Blue, right? Yeah. I think so. But the reason why it's not looked at as a positive that we could have these 12 great games is that people are looking for what's the next game, because I bought this so I could keep getting more games. And
Right.
so they've built this anticipation of more games. And so do they need to release a top tier game every single video that they make every Friday? They don't. They could literally get a really top tier game like 3 times a year and then they would be okay, right? Or maybe even 2. If they started with 2 right now, I think people would be stoked.
Yeah.
And so I think though that they also are smaller, so it's hard to get those titles. And I think Jong has a dream. He started this cabin. He has a dream to be an arcade salesperson or an arcade company, and he's very passionate about what he does. And I think it's a good thing if you go in with the right expectations. And I do really enjoy my iArcade, and sometimes I play games that I don't think I'm gonna like, and I'm surprised. Like I never thought that I would love 10-Yard Fight, but it's one of the top games I play on that cabinet. I play 10-Yard Fight. I play Donut Dodo. I play that Warriors Blade. There's some games
Oh
I
yeah,
was
that's a, that Warrior Blade. When they put Warrior Blade on there, I got so excited because I love that game.
there's stuff that just surprises me, right? Batsugan, a shooter that's on there, that's a really good shooter. So like
Hellfire.
I haven't played it. I probably should give it a chance. So it's all like what your expectations are. Did I get my money's worth for $250? Yes, I did. Okay, I can't complain. I can't complain about the iArcade for what I got for $250, and then all the games I bought on sale for like 1/3 of the price they normally are, right before Christmas. And so I can't complain about the iArcade. But I do hope that they could get some big titles. If they could start, maybe set a goal, we're gonna have 2 big titles this year or whatever, or next year. That would be a good goal. Okay.
Well, I kind of felt like, when they got, for example, when they got Mayhem Brawler, that told me that they could get anything. If they got Mayhem Brawler, they could maybe get Streets of Rage 4. And then I was thinking about, I started thinking about the Ninja Turtles, of course, and then Console Fanboy and I keep talking about what if they got the license for Dreamcast and started putting out, Dreamcast titles and Atomis Wave and Naomi. They have the hardware capable of running this stuff. So for
Yeah,
me,
the hardware is nice.
it
It's
seems
the
like
best hardware in the game.
yeah, it seems like, and that's why I said before, I'm like, you get the iArcade, and it's almost like you're buying a PS5 and you're playing Atari 2600 games.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You want to take advantage of the technology. You want to take advantage of the hardware. And for me, I always felt like because iArcade is essentially a console in an arcade form factor, that they should be on the same in the same licensing pool as consoles like PlayStation and Xbox, and they can clearly run, those types of titles. So there's no reason why you couldn't see the Contra collection or the Mortal Kombat collection or this collection or that collection
Yeah.
from a console, or even the Capcom collection that just got released. There's no reason why that couldn't be ported over to the iArcade, because the iArcade is a console. But they're
It's gonna
not
take
looking at it like
yeah.
that. They're looking at it
It's
as it's an arcade. But then again, it's not really an arcade because now you're releasing ColecoVision games. So you're not taking advantage of
I,
the
I'm
power that you have. I
I
don't.
I want to comment on that. So what I'm going to do first though is answer Papa Brad's question that he has up
Yes.
here. So he's asking if you would need an arcade one up to participate in Super Sunday Night Turbo on Steps Gaming, right? The answer is yes, because it's an arcade one up fight game community show specifically around Capcom games. Not only because Capcoms are the only ones that have spectate mode, but just because that's where I am from. Like that, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the arcade one up Capcom community. Like Marvel versus Capcom, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2. Like those are the things that I came for. Now I may not be the best at those games. But like that's what I love. And I think we were missing a show again where we focused on the one up fight games, and that's just something I'm passionate about, and it's going to be the community show, as I said earlier in the stream. Will I do Fightcade with it down the road? I don't know, but for right now, we're staying on brand, right? Like I think the iArcade zone is just iArcade. I don't think they do anything else. So yeah, that's just where it's at. But
And shout out to the iArcadians too. You know,
yes, I love the iArcadians.
keeping the community alive. I was so sad, Jeff, when you departed that team, because you were such a huge part of the iArcadians, and I love that group.
I
hope
hope Jeff could show up time to time on the iArcadians.
Yeah,
I really do. I get it. Stuff happens. You know, life changes. Different things happen. Some Bobby Vu said something about get ready to what? Whoop ass in Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Get your ass whooped in Street Fighter. He whoops my ass in Street Fighter all the time. And if I beat him, it's because he was probably messing around trying to train me to do something specific. And I figured out what it was. So then I knocked him out. And then he's like, okay, we can move on. And we can move on to next thing, you know, like.
And this here by Fighters Evolution, Fighter is Evo. You know what? You're 100% right. Best thing about Fightcade, it's free.
This is free. As I said before, I do stream on Fightcade. I don't have a problem with Fightcade. It's just it's a different lane for me.
That's a fanboy says. Last August, when I met Bobby, I peed myself. He didn't know. Please don't tell him. Free is my kind of pricing. What's up, your average gamer? Good to see you, man. Yeah, this is yeah, Fightcade. Oh, I love Fightcade for the simple fact that I can use my Mortal Kombat fight stick, the hap stick, to play against people online. I think that's amazing. Even though I'm no good, I still enjoy being able to use the hap stick.
Yeah.
But you know, iArcade, yeah, I guess I'm just hoping. Again, for me, you know, Ninja Turtles is what I want, but
I think
I know
anything is possible, my friend. I think Ninja Turtles.
I'm like, I want Shredder's Revenge on iArcade so badly.
So here's what I think. Here's what I think that I think Emu is the people that made that. They have a good relationship. They have other games by them, so that's a good opportunity. The other problem though is they got Nickelodeon, who also would have to sign off on it, right? And so they got two people that they got to coerce into putting that game on their cabinet. And then you also got competition from other people that want it just so that they could, you know, say, hey, we got it, not you, iArcade, you know. So that's the problem, right?
My problem is that our this is one of those situations, and you know, you kind of touched on this, but to me, this is kind of one of those situations where Arcade 1-Up has no business getting Shredder's Revenge. It's just not their bag. It's not their thing. It's a completely different animal.
It's not gonna run on their current
yeah, they're gonna have to create new hardware for
which is gonna make it out of the price range they want to be in, because they want to be in Walmart. It doesn't suit them. I think you're right. But would it help them resell Ninja Turtles when they've already released 2 and it's kind of a dead license? Yeah, it would. It would help people want to buy it again, right? Because it's hard to like put much more into those games. Like they made it again. They made the Turtles in Time and it has online play, but it's a beat 'em up game, right? It's not a fighting game. So they have to find some licenses that they could put on there with the turtles. And I guess, you know what, that Turtles Cowabunga collection would be a good one to look at if you could put that on a cabinet. They might get in the third round of
That's another one that
there's a third.
could very easily get ported over to the iArcade because they're a console, not an arcade.
but
That's
but
the whole.
Yeah, but those would make more sense on a one up than the Shredder's Revenge. And I think they would easily be able to get those, and it might help make a third round of those for them. Because I think that it's not Turtles was a popular arcade, and it's very popular for people that are about, you know, between your age and my age. And I think that but once you got it, what you're not going to buy it a second time probably, right?
Well, like for me, Shredder's Revenge, I got it on the I have it on the PC and I have it on the PlayStation 4. I don't have a PlayStation 5. If I buy it again, it's going to be because it's on an iArcade. I'm not buying a dedicated
No,
arcade one up
I agree with you.
for Shredder's Revenge. See, and
They're-
that's what I'm saying. I would buy that game again because I think that game is a great game and it would be great to play it on the iArcade, but I wouldn't. That's the one issue too that I would have with them coming out with it with Arcade One Up doing it, because I have no desire for it to be its own separate cab. That's one of those titles where it fits perfectly with what iArcade is doing.
Well, I do got to say this about Ninja Turtles because we're on Ninja Turtles now. Like, other than Pac-Man, the very first arcade game I ever played is when I went to the original Ninja Turtles movie that came out. I think I would have been 9. It was like 1989. And I played that first arcade game at the movie theater. And that was, I mean, that was just a fantastic experience. It was 4 players, you had 4 turtles. Like, it just was what kind of opened my mind to, you know, playing more arcade games. And so I think a lot of people you know, in that age group have a lot of fond memories playing Ninja Turtles, just like the generations before us, like they have Pac-Man. I think that that's what started for them. They're like, oh, Pac-Man or Space Invaders or whatever. But I think most people, you know, that were born in the 80s
Mhm.
are going to say one of their first big arcade games was Ninja Turtles.
And I've got a $5 super chat here from Papa Brad's Gaming. Thank you, Papa Brad. I appreciate that, my man. Let's take a look here. He says, "What would be the best cab to get to play on your new show, Kristen? Big Blue, still the best Capcom cab to get. No monitor issues."
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. Like, for me, like my favorite is like this right here is my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, okay? But if for someone like Papa Brad's, that's probably not a professional fight game enthusiast and probably not hardcore on the Versus series where you get 5 games or whatever, and they're all the same, pretty much. They're just slightly different, a different roster. Big Blue has a good variety of games, right? So, like, even if he didn't like Street Fighter, he could play Capcom Sports Club. He could play the Puzzle Fighter, which is a puzzle game, obviously. You could play Knights of the Round beat 'em up game. It's a really good one. I think Big Blue is a really good option, especially if you could get a deal on it tomorrow. And then my second choice for most people would be the new Capcom Legacy. If you are asking a question, the Marvel Capcom one's probably not the one, but I do think that people that love Marvel Capcom series love Marvel Capcom series. It has the busiest lobbies, but if you go in there and you have no experience playing those games, you're not going to enjoy it because everybody on that cabinet is top tier smoking good. And so that's why
Uh,
I
what am I missing here? I what everybody keeps I'm seeing a lot of people talking in the chat, and you mentioned it, a bunch of people mentioning what's going on tomorrow. What is the big thing going on
oh
tomorrow that people
tomorrow
are, you know,
yeah, it's the Arcade One Up America. They're doing a benefit, a charity event for America Red Cross, right? And so I believe Kong is one that planned this from Kong's R Us and John D. And basically what's happening is Arcade 1UP is they're claiming they are severely discounting cabinets for community members. And so you could buy these cabinets that they want to get rid of at a really good deal, and they're making it private so that they don't have to publicize it to upset their resellers, right? So you could go on, there's different times. And actually, I have a video. If you go to Steps Gaming,
Yeah.
I made a video today about your average gamer. He's hyping up this awesome cabinet deal he has.
Yes.
He thinks it's really good. He said people that enjoy stuff on my channel would enjoy this cabinet deal. I could take a guess at what it might be, but I don't know, right? I can't confirm what it is, but he seems to think it's really good. I'm wondering if he has Big Blue, or even an X-Men Street Fighter or Marvel Capcom, but like I don't know that for a fact, right? And so, but what I hear is the pricing is good. Um, if you could watch my video, I did post all the times that everyone streams in that
Yes.
video. You could watch Kongs Are Us. He's probably got a million videos. I think Weekly Retro Party had a video on the event tomorrow. Moat, Mike of All Trades, also did. Moat is going to have a time to himself too, where you can go on his show and he's going to have a cabinet deal. Michael B, the Game Genie's got two hours instead. Everyone else has got 1 hour, but Michael B gets 2. Yeah, so if you're looking for a deal on 1UPs, if you want to support a good cause, then yeah, if you're not in LA to go, then watch these streams, and it gives you some entertainment for tomorrow.
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah. For everybody watching this show, you've heard it here. Now you know what tomorrow's about. And thank you again for the $5 super chat, Papa Brad. And we've got a $1.99 super chat here from Console Fanboy. He says Jeff is the funniest guy ever. Y'all don't know. Yeah, Rainwater Games. I again, hey, Jeff is great. By the way, Jeff, Zod will never see these texts. It's way too far down the thread. I'm going all over the place because the chat is jumping all over and skipping all over too. So let's see here. UAG is cheap.
Yeah, he's cheap.
So what kind of cabinet deal are we looking at?
If he says prices are rock bottom, then that means that he's got a good deal. If he only had like $50 off this cabinet, he wouldn't be piping it up like he is.
Yeah, you're saying prices are right, rock bottom.
It would be really awesome if they did discount and sell some of these cabinets that are going to be on Super Sunday Night Turbo, because the more the merrier, right? But if you're just getting your feet wet, and you're looking for something, I would look for Big Blue. And if you miss out on Big Blue, well, then you got the Capcom Legacy, I guess.
Which Capcom Legacy would you recommend for somebody who can't get Big Blue or misses out on a Big Blue deal?
So the issue is like the new ones are online, right? And the old one is not. I love the most recent one that was just out that looked like the original World Warrior machine.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice one.
That was
like I was looking at the Partycade at Walmart. They had the Partycade for like 200 something, and it looks really good, and it has the old Street Fighter 2 artwork. Yeah,
that was my dream cabinet because I used to read Electronic Gaming Monthly growing up. Like that was like my magazine. I had a subscription, you know, and so I got this copy in the early 90s, and it had Ken on the front on Blanca stage, and it was like talking about Street Fighter 2, the arcade game. So, going to an arcade when I was growing up was like a special treat. A lot of people just like, I hung out at the arcade. I walked down to the 7-Eleven. I did this. Well, I didn't get to go that often. So like, I remember we went on a trip to Tennessee to Gatlinburg, and we stopped at an arcade, and I was looking through the arcade looking for Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior, because it was hyped up in that magazine, and that was the first time I played Street Fighter 2. That's why I really like the cabinet design, but why I ultimately did not buy it is because it wouldn't have done anything for me community wise. It had no online play, so that was a big deal to me, right? And so I think it's a really nice looking cabinet. If you like looks, if you want to mod it to something else, it's a good choice. But the newer ones, and I know you think they're ugly. I really like the Super Turbo one. I think it's gorgeous. It seems like it's going to be harder to come by because it's on Shop Hippo, and the other ones are like everywhere else.
Whenever I hear Shop Hippo, I think of three words actually. Trust me, bro. That's what I think of when I see Shop Hippo. I just can't imagine anybody buying anything off of Shop Hippo.
Let's see. Rock bottom when Michael B makes videos about cabs being on sale for $5.50, or rock bottom when we all scored those countercates for $18.
That's rock bottom. The $18 countercates. In fact, Rainwater Games, this is the comment of the night, my friend. I mean, you basically just hit the nail on the head.
I don't even know if that was rock bottom. That was like a mistake. Somebody got fired for that one. I got 2 of those and I sold them both.
I have to be honest though. Yeah, I wasn't gonna get a Mortal Kombat 2 countercade, but when I saw I could score it for $18, I'm like, yeah, it's got a great screen. It looks fantastic. It's not like the screen gate we're dealing with these new 30th anniversary cabinets.
That's my concern with the new Legacy, and the only thing that I really am worried about. Like I said, I don't mind the midway design because all those cabs are Frankenstein anyway. I like the marquee. I think it's good, but I think that monitor is probably, meh, but I don't know. I haven't seen it in person, so it's unfair for me to say the monitor sucks if I haven't seen the monitor in the Mortal Kombat, and I definitely haven't in the Street Fighter. We don't know for sure what's going to be in the Street Fighter. We make assumptions based on the Mortal Kombat, and I'd say those assumptions are probably safe, but you don't know till the fat lady sings. And that's one thing I've kind of learned watching 1UP's products,
And Council Fanboy says, I'm dying to know, how much will Big Blue be? If it's $200 or less, my brain will explode. Yeah, I mean, again, if I could get a Big Blue for what I was willing to pay for that Defender Partycade, I mean, why not?
The Big Blue resells for $5.99 because it has the stool. It is definitely the most gorgeous cabinet of all the 1UPs. Like, other than maybe Dragon's Lair, that one's new. I haven't seen in person. I know everybody thinks that some people think it's an ice scraper, but by gorgeous I mean it's quality. But I also have a Bobby Voo deck on mine, so maybe I should shut up.
Bobby Voo deck is come on.
And
this is what I got Bobby Voo making me a Killer Instinct bar top. So I'm just gonna.
Oh man, that'd be really cool. I
don't really care so much about the online aspect as much as I do, just being able to have these great games and be able to actually store them in my small apartment. But the idea of like a Big Blue, I'm sitting here thinking, my God, I want to participate and I want to be a part of your thing. And I'm sitting here looking around right now at my apartment wondering where the hell I would put a Big Blue if I could get a good deal on one tomorrow.
You know what you could do? When I first got the Big Blue and I wanted to participate in tournaments and stuff, I bought it. I had no space like I have in this room right now. I wasn't even like really in this room. So like what I did was I took the screen out of the box and the deck, and of course I replaced the parts with Sanwa and Hap, but that was important. But I had it like this computer monitor here, and then I would, just like an arcade stick, I was using the deck and I was playing in these tournaments.
Also, you just connected it like you would like a console.
Yeah, but I did use their monitor. I just like put it up against the wall and then
against the wall. Like oh yeah, and actually that's something that I'm actually sitting here considering if I'm able to get it for a cheap enough price, because I'm looking at it from that perspective. UAG says here, trust me, bro, this will be the lowest prices on the product unless we are talking price errors. So
if UAG says that,
maybe not $18, but it will be extremely.
He must mean business if he says that. And when he told me all that stuff, that's why I made that video. I go, okay, I'll make a video saying the UAG
Ouch!
stuff is good.
Please read Papa Brad's
The new
comment
Capcom
there.
Legacy will have that washed out TN monitor. There is a very good chance that it will. I would say it's highly likely. I would never was I saying that it wouldn't. However,
You were just commenting on that you like the cosmetics of it.
yeah, I was. I think, and
Not so
I
much
think the
that.
game selection's pretty good too.
Yeah.
If I hate something in a cabinet, could I find a way to make it the way I want it?
Sure.
Sure, that's what you do with one-up stuff.
So, but again, look at what we all did with the MVSX. Just saying. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you're.
I mean, people don't want to have to buy a monitor. So far, I've used the one-up monitors because I haven't needed a bigger monitor. Some people like a 19. I don't care. 17's fine.
Couldn't you use the MVSX monitor?
That one, I mean, isn't that a lower end monitor? It's definitely lower than the monitors is not as nice as the ones that's on my one-ups. But the rest of the cabinet, like I said, better quality. The one-ups have a better screen than the iArcade. At least the BOE ones that I have in these two cabinets, I think.
Shout out to EGM and Game Pro. Great magazines. I used to love EGM. EGM was my favorite magazine of all time.
I can't tell you, there's not a day that goes by that I don't wish that EGM was coming to my mailbox, man. That was just like, that's like I was just thinking about
EGM should come back. They were awesome. Like they had all the stuff. They were lying to us about Mortal Kombat. They had all the stuff. Oh yeah, Ermac is in the arcade version, folks. Oh, and by the way, there's this kickboxer in the Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat named Nimbus, and y'all just you got to do this, and this. EGM was awesome for their for their lies. I used to love.
Yeah,
EGM.
they had that code Shenlong. Play Shenlong in Street Fighter for Super NES, and I can't tell you, I sat there for like hours.
Sat there for
I can't
hours.
get it. I just watched Shenlong, and you're like
sat there for hours.
You're like, what's wrong with me? I can't get them.
yeah. Your whole weekend would be wasted trying to do something that you were never going to be able to do no matter what. But EGM was the best.
And I was thinking about them again this week when I thought about when you saw the trailer for the Super Sunday Night Turbo. When I did that trailer, I'm like, man, I'm hyping myself up. And I'm like, this reminds me of the hype that I would get when I would get Electronic Gaming Monthly. I don't know why that came to my head, but man, I think this Mario poster needs to move. It's autographed by Charles Martinet. It's an awesome poster. I need to move it above my desk or something, because over here, I definitely want, I almost want a Super Sunday Night Turbo logo, but I also want the EGM issue that I had with the Ken on it that I talked about, maybe a blow up poster of that cover. I just think that would be really cool, because that's to me what started it all for me. If you go really far back. When I think of Shop Hippo, I think of Lena Dunham.
Yeah, Shop Hippo, I just can't get behind.
I didn't even know what it was.
It's like those leather shops online that sell belts and wallets and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they have an arcade one-up, and it's like, what?
Oh, it's because I think John D said the other day on stream that it was because the guy who owns it loves arcade one-ups, so he sells all this other crap and then he's like one-ups, and he's got the alternate versions of the one-ups. It doesn't look like he has the original versions. He's like, we got the Joust Mortal Kombat cab, we got the Dig Dug. He's got the different stuff.
Okay,
the screen is not bad.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I look at that Mortal Kombat 30th, and I cringe a little, because I'm like, no, that's not. Especially console fanboy. Let's be honest. You and I both have Bobby Vu Mortal Kombat machines where the monitors are beautiful from any angle. So I can't in good conscience downgrade to a crappy washed out monitor for a one up that's gonna just because it plays online. I mean, that's just not a compelling enough reason. It's like, I guess again, Bobby Vu has spoiled me. I don't. I can't look at this stuff the same way. I just it's
Yeah, there's nothing that compares. There's nothing that compares to a Bobby Vu.
no, and I don't know. I'm just
It's like its own brand. Like you always hear, like nothing compares to a Louis Vuitton. Nothing.
right, right,
It's
right.
like
The
can you
Vu
say?
the Vucade is essentially the Louis Vuitton of the home arcade community because it's so rare, limited, and usually his machines are one of a kind. So
Yeah, it's a luxury item.
it's
It's like
essentially like it's essentially like Zohar got the full size Mortal Kombat. I got the bar top version, but they're
I
essentially the same cabinet, but they're just I don't know. It's incredible.
I gotta say this. Like I was watching some stream. Kenny Omega was streaming games, and he's got a big blue behind him, and he's got an MVSX too. Believe it or not, and so if you don't know who Kenny Omega is, he's like a AEW wrestler. He was a champion
Yeah.
for a while. He's well known. He was well known in Japan. Anyway, so he's got that arcade one up Big Blue with his normal Big Blue deck, and I'm just look at it. I'm like, I got a better Big Blue than Kenny Omega because Bobby Vu hooked me up with the To Die For deck, and I don't know. It just made me feel special knowing that I had a better Big Blue than Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Well, the big blue. It seems like I never hear anything but positive stuff when people talk about the big blue. But I also hear a lot of people talking about how the online lobbies are dead. And here's the thing: I've got a million and one ways to play Street Fighter. So really, the only reason that I would need to get a big blue would be to play online and to be able to play in these tournaments.
If you love Champions Edition, you're in good shape. If you love the other games, you can go to Discord and look for like I don't know if you're a member of Footy Laughs Discord. If you're not, you need to go to Footy Laughs Discord because he has a Discord that isn't even geared towards anything because he doesn't really like he does that Friday night show where he has these random matches, but
Mhm.
like he doesn't do much with his YouTube, so it's very low key. So like his Discord is just people that go in there and talk about playing games, looking for games. And you could look for a game in almost anything on those one ups and find matchups. But usually, if there's a tournament happening of some sort, then also those lobbies get full. People practicing things like that. So like what I'm hoping will happen is when the community gets involved with Super Sunday Night Turbo, and we are saying, okay, next week we're playing Capcom Sports. Then everybody starts practicing Capcom Sports, and you can get in there and play some games. Um, but is Capcom Sports going to be a bustling lobby normally? No. But we as a community have to come together to make it that way so that we get to enjoy all the games. Because we really should, because they're good games, and
Yeah.
and in the worst case scenario, say you don't like the game that week, show up and play, have fun. Who gives a rat's ass? Just have fun, and that's what that's about. And I try to play with as many people as request me to play as possible, but I'm really busy too. But I got back on the Marvel versus Capcom this week because I was so busy doing stuff for like Laundromat Wars and like whatever. I missed who I was. And then when I got back in the cabinet, I was like nothing but smiles. I was like, oh, I love this. This is what I want to play. I don't
That's how
really
I feel when I get on
I
the
I
MVSX and play
don't
Zero Team USA.
I was like
Just
I was like, I don't want to play Best of the Best or Tatsu Assassins on Fightcade. I want to play Marvel versus Capcom. And so I don't know, it made me happy. I know, no
so
offense to
how are
Tatsu
you how are
Assassins.
you how do you feel about Marvel versus Capcom 2? Because you talk a lot about Marvel versus Capcom, but is
Marvel
where
versus Capcom 2, here's the thing. Like, I should say this, okay? When I got this cabinet, in 2020, late 2020. I really hadn't played those games in 20 years, like 15, 20 years, whatever it was, because sometimes in life stuff happens. I was in a bad relationship. I was in a bad relationship with somebody that had a drinking problem. And, I spent a lot of time taking care of my kids, working 2 jobs, things like that. I didn't get to play. So when I got this cabinet, I had to I started playing it again. And, and I used to think I was good, but the problem is when you play with your friends, you're only as good as your friends are going to be, right? And so when I got on this cabinet, I just got creamed, you know, and I just kept going till I got better. I don't know. I don't even know what the original question was, but I
No, about Marvel versus Capcom
oh
2. How do
too.
you feel?
Oh,
Are you
so here's the thing. I got to go back and I got to play Marvel Capcom 2 again. And I purposely haven't played it that much because I want to enjoy my cabinet that I have. So
okay?
if Marvel vs. Capcom 2 comes out this year, which I say is highly likely, just like I said, highly likely to those washed out monitors, right? Um, no guarantees, but highly likely. Anything is possible. Then I will get back into it and play it more often again. The one thing I don't like about Marvel Capcom 2 versus the ones that are on this collection here is that these original versions, they have all 6 buttons and it plays like the 6 buttons are just like Street Fighter, Um, but with Marvel Capcom 2, it's a 4 button layout, which is weird. It's different, so you have to get used
Yeah,
to it.
definitely.
The other buttons are for assists. So you still got the 6 buttons, but it's different. And so your mindset, like when you play Marvel Capcom 2, you have to be a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 player and dedicate yourself to Marvel vs. Capcom 2 so that you're good at it, right? Because it's going to be a different thought process. Plus the character possibilities are endless. There's like 50 to 70 characters in that game. And so you got to know the best combination of characters, and then what characters are you good at, and there's a lot of strategy to it, and it's definitely a lot busier than the other games where they have a lot less characters.
So you're not gonna buy the cab right
I didn't
away
say
then?
that at all. I'm going to buy it right away for sure.
Okay, I
I
just
was.
was
I didn't think
curious.
that was the question. You just
No,
asked me
I was just
about
curious
it.
if you were gonna actually
Yeah,
buy the
no.
cab because
Here's
it's one of those
here's
it's one of those things that I said that if Arcade One Up releases Marvel versus Capcom 2, it will be the best selling home arcade of all time. And that's my prediction. That's what I
I
believe
I think
because
so too.
everybody wants Marvel versus Capcom 2. Even people that don't really buy these home arcades and are not really into it,
And
I think would buy that.
we're almost 2 years later, and you could go on that cabinet right now, and you're gonna find matchups, in Marvel Capcom and X-Men Street Fighter. Maybe Marvel Street Fighter but that's only on the Marvel Capcom cab, but you're definitely gonna find matchups in those 2 games and a decent amount of players on that cabinet. A Marvel Capcom 2 cabinet, it will pack the lobbies, and it'll be a game changer for Arcade One Up. The only problem I see is where do they go from there? Do they say, okay, we're going to beef things up and do Marvel versus Capcom 3? I know that a lot of people, when they think arcades, the last one they really think of is Marvel Capcom 2.
Yeah.
Marvel Capcom 3 is the number 1 selling Marvel Capcom game of all time. And
And that's because it comes off of Marvel versus Capcom 2, though. Yeah.
yeah, but the fourth one that was on PlayStation 4, that one sucks.
Yeah.
Uh, but I hope they could redo it. It's hard. It's probably harder to convince Disney when you make the last one suck. But I think it sucked because of Disney, because they at that time they didn't own the X-Men. You can't make Marvel versus Capcom without the X-Men. You just can't.
That's very
It's
true.
not possible. It started with X-Men. When you think of Marvel Capcom, the number 1 person you start thinking of, besides like Ryu and Ken or whatever, you think Wolverine, whether you play him or not. So, you know.
And this is a great point here. The games that share online capabilities with Big Blue will be cross-play with the new cabs.
That's true.
So if you get these legacy cabs that look like Midway machines, they will cross-play with the Big Blue. So that's
Here's
cool.
here's the other thing I know. There's going to be some updates to the software so that it runs better. I can't tell you like how I know that. I just know that. And I've seen proof of that. So the new games, the new games that are coming out, they'll run better than their original counterparts.
That's really cool. I'm getting more and more confident about my possible dipping my toe in with Big Blue just simply by all of this
Dude,
conversation.
if you could
Regards,
get a good deal on it tomorrow,
yeah, I will do it.
honestly, it's definitely one of the best one-ups that they've made. I would put it in the top 3. And I'm pretty sure that Dragon's Lair is probably number 1 now, but I don't even like Dragon's Lair. It's before my time.
Yeah, Dragon Slayer. I've said it a million times before. iArcade. I have no desire to have a dedicated Dragon's Lair cabinet. It's just not my thing. It's not that I don't like the game, but I'm very happy with what iArcade was able to do with the game. So I really have no desire to have it as its own dedicated one up, which again, like when we were talking about Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, again, a dedicated cab just wouldn't really make sense when you can buy the game for $25. I mean,
if you want a Ninja Turtles cabinet, you want the original title, not the Turtles in Time. Even though Turtles in Time was the best game, the original title, that cabinet design is the one that people want.
is the good one.
They already did it. So
That's
where are you going to go from there, right? You can't. It's hard. So again, back not to beat a dead horse.
No, but it's just one of those things that bears repeating, especially when we start talking about Dragon's Lair too. Like, I just feel like it makes sense that they would put out a dedicated Dragon's Lair cabinet for people that really love Dragon's Lair, or just like the look of these arcade one-ups. Okay, but again, Shredder's Revenge was never an arcade game.
No, it wasn't.
So it's going to be like these new Street Fighter legacies where they're just going to come up with some artwork for it and it'll be its own thing. But
they did such a good job on that Dragon's Lair. I keep seeing the pictures of it, and I want it. I want the cabinet, and I don't even like Dragon's Lair. It makes no sense to me. It's like it's a sexy cabinet.
IKEA furniture,
but they nailed it. It doesn't look like IKEA furniture. Like they did that game solid. And I was a naysayer. I said, why even bother making that cabinet? iArcade already has it. People already have the game. This is stupid. And they proved me wrong. Because if you really love Dragon's Lair, if that's your number 1 game, that's the cabinet to have. It's authentic. It looks good. The cabinet is gorgeous, and it's interesting to me. It's like they just did it to prove a point. But maybe they need to do it to prove a point on all their cabinets and not just Dragon's Lair.
Prove a point because again, we can always circle back to the Purple Nightlight, which is the Tron cabinet that so many people bought, so many people broke within the first couple of weeks of playing it. So I don't, again, when I look at some of these cabinets and it's just based on the aesthetic or just based on how it looks, you want to sit there and stare at it more than play it. They make, you got companies that like to make the little miniature replicas that look like the original arcades, and you can have a bunch of those on your shelves if you just want to stare at it. I mean, I kind of feel like if you're gonna pay that much money, I want to play it too. I don't want to just stare at it. I don't want it to be fragile to the point where if I'm actually going to play it a lot, I'm going to break it. And that's what happened with a lot of people with Tron. And I suspect that's what's going to happen with a lot of these sexy looking Dragon's Lair machines too.
If I had like a full basement that I had control over and I was putting arcades in it, I would buy that just for appearance. And for appearance, I would never play it. I would just turn it on.
That's what I mean.
Look at this sexy cabinet.
couldn't you just get one that's, that just is just like a track mode that isn't the game, it's just the track mode in the cabinet, and you just put it in the corner somewhere and just leave it on a track mode, and oh, it's
That
so
would be
pretty.
cool, but
Yeah.
but you want, if people come over and they go, I want to play that, you want it to work, right? But even though you're not going to play it, but you know who buys cabinets just for looks all the time is Sosa. Sosa's got 28 one-ups, 28 of them.
Sosa, my man, you are wow. That's amazing.
There's no way he's not buying that Dragon Slayer. There's no way it'll end up in his house.
Well, I mean, look at Michael B. He buys every cabinet too. I mean, he's one of those guys that, is every cabinet that comes out, he builds suspense as to whether or not he's going to buy it when he knows full well he's going to buy every cabinet that comes out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he always does a video. He's like, "Oh, should I get this one?" 2 days
Will I
later,
buy this?
2 days later, there you can look at Twitter. There's a picture of it. He's like, "I stopped and got a cheeseburger, but then I went over to wherever he buys cabinets." Like,
I want this for my parents. Rainwater Games. I want to score an $18 Pong pub tip. I want that for my parents. I want an $18 Pong for them. I would buy that for $18. Oh, that's perfect.
See, this is why I thought you were older, because you're talking about Pong, Sinistar, Defender,
for my parents,
me,
like Pong,
yeah,
that's their game.
That's
their thing. Like
I don't even play the Atari. It's too old for me. Like for me,
oh God, yeah, God.
My gaming started at the Super Nintendo, and this is why I'm gonna go back to iArcade, because iArcade is giving you ColecoVision games and stuff that I have no interest in because it's before my time, right? There's people that love it, and I'm cool with it being there. I don't have a problem with ColecoVision, so don't put words into my mouth. It just doesn't grab my attention because I was born in the 80s, and I want what I thought I loved when I was a kid, just like they want the ColecoVision because that was popular when they were kids.
Yeah, but the people buying the iArcade aren't playing ColecoVision.
So what I want on the iArcade, even if they could just do this, is if they could get some, like if they could nail some TurboGrafx titles. Konami is not doing anything with those. They had the Mini, it's already done. Get TurboGrafx games. There's a lot of us that love those games, and there's a lot of games that have like that Konami didn't even put on the Mini, like Legendary X, and so like maybe some Genesis games. There's stuff that could be had that would get all of us excited that were like born in the 80s. It'd be like, oh my God, you got that? Yeah, and they'd buy it. Not that it's the top tier, that's going to be top tier level sell the console, but it would make all of us very happy, I think. Just that was something I was going to say before, and you reminded me.
Yeah, I would love to see TurboGrafx PC Engine games on the iArcade if they're going to go that route. I would love to see it. There's so many great titles for that. I mean, they could put, what's stopping iArcade from grabbing the Castlevania collection? I mean, really, there's, I don't know. I'm just, the Contra collection. A good game for TurboGrafx, a good game. Dragon Spirit.
Yeah, it's a good game. Dragon Spirit.
Bonk's Adventure.
Bonk's Adventure is good. All those games that were on the TurboGrafx, though, they were good to play on an arcade stick. They even had that turbo stick that was pretty cool, and the games play well on an arcade. I'd say for the 16-bit era, the TurboGrafx might have the most arcade stick-friendly console.
They were fantastic games. And there were a lot of great shooters for the TurboGrafx,
which fits perfectly with the I Shootercade. Again, it's perfect.
Again, I'm in complete agreement with you on this. I loved TurboGrafx 16. I thought TurboGrafx 16 was one of the greatest consoles of all time. I had a PC Engine CD console a couple of years ago, and I was going through some rough times, and I had to sell it. It was the saddest sale I ever made.
I'm sorry.
Because I had it in mint condition. It was beautiful, and I had a whole bunch of TurboGrafx 16 games, and I ended up selling, the CD games.
They're so expensive now too.
Oh my God, yeah. I wish I had them now.
Yeah.
The only game that I still have is I still have my copy. I keep it in a little plastic sleeve. I still have my mint copy of Dracula X. I never sold
That
that.
game is
I
awesome.
kept that game
I got
because
it.
to me that game is nostalgia and is the greatest Castlevania game ever
Oh,
made.
dude, yes, Oh,
I,
Zod, I did not know, but are we best friends?
we must be. We must be
Because
because oh my god.
Rondo of Blood is in my top 3 games of all time for sure. Like Rondo, I know Symphony of the Night was a sequel to Rondo of Blood, but Rondo of Blood is just so
Sym-
much better.
Symphony of the Night
It's
is Symphony of the Night doesn't hold a candle to Rondo of Blood in
I
my
agree.
mind.
I agree.
I think, Symphony of the Night broke new ground, and it
Yeah.
definitely was a part of Castlevania's legacy, and I'm glad that it exists. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it doesn't get any better, okay, than this title right here.
Oh my god.
This right here, see, I keep it in a plastic sleeve. It is a beautiful,
It
beautiful
is.
game. I love it. It is one of my prized possessions. I have nothing to play it on, but of course I have it, emulated, so I can play it on. I can play it on the MVSX if I want to, because I can do it. I can run it through RetroArch, and it's phenomenal. But what I'm saying to you is, yeah, there's never going to be another Castlevania game like this again.
No, it's the best.
And
Hands down, there's no debate. It is the best Castlevania game. And when you first turn that on and you hear that CD based sound, because that was the first CD system, right? And you turn that on, you hear that, especially when
yes,
you go to the second level and you get the I think it's Vampire Killer, the oh
yes, yes.
oh
You're
it,
you're going through that rainy graveyard area, and because this is
yeah.
after you kill the purple dragon, and then oh my god,
So
I yeah,
I gotta tell you this. When I was a kid, I had the Genesis. I was a big Sega person. And I
okay,
went over to one of my friend's house. I'm like, "Do you have Genesis? We need to play Genesis. Let's play Street Fighter 2 or whatever." And he's like, "I don't have a Genesis, but I have a TurboGrafx 16." And he goes, "I have Street Fighter 1." And I was like, "Okay, but it's called Fighting Street." And I'm like, "I've never played
yeah,
that. You have
Fighting
Street Fighter
Street
1? I got to try that."
CD
I was like
version.
all excited. And then I play this and I'm like, this is Street Fighter. like this is awful. But anyway, in EGM, I would read those articles and they reviewed Ease books 1 and 2 on TurboGrafx CD, and they said all these things. The best game. It's the best game. It's the best. And I was like, I want to play that game. And I looked at the cost of TurboGrafx CD or whatever, and I was like, I don't know, 10 years old. It's like $400, and you're like, well, that's out of the question. And so I didn't play Ease books 1 and 2 or Rondo of Blood till I was like, I don't know. I'm 42 now. So I was 40, maybe 38, 40 when I played these games. And when I sat down and I first played those games and I heard the CD, it just brought me back to being that 10-year-old kid that wanted to play those games. And you just experience the sound and the game and the action in just that light, which was really cool experience for me. And I'm so glad that I'm almost glad I didn't play them and I had them, because I was just blown away by both of those games. And they're both and I played Ease all the way through. And I played Rondo of Blood almost all the way through, but I still have some things I got to do. It's just really hard game.
Absolutely, it's a hard game.
I'm a completionist. I went and
It
I
is.
found all the girls and all the levels up through and I played there's alternate levels for level 2, and I think I've done I've gone through 5 levels. I've been through the alternate levels, and I still think there's 2 more. But
So you've played as Maria already.
oh yeah, she's kind of goofy. I like playing Richter better, but
Yeah, me too. I've always been more of a Richter fan, and I will say that as a Rondo of Blood super fan, I am so happy that the next installment of Castlevania on Netflix is going to deal with Richter. It's going to
Oh,
be
that's really
Rondo
cool.
of Blood. I am so excited that storyline is going to get adapted into animation.
You know what's
Because
behind that door right now? I'd have to go. I'm not. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go get it, but I have the Rondo of Blood soundtrack on vinyl. On
oh,
vinyl.
I almost bought that, but see, I had the limited CD release of the
Yeah.
soundtrack, and it came with the because they released it around the time when they did they did the PSP version where they revamped Rondo of Blood for, and that's fun too, the 3D version. But to me, because it was a nice overhaul and it still looks good and it plays good, via emulation or PSP if you have the ability to do that. But but nothing is better than the TurboGrafx CD version.
Yeah.
This is where it is. This is the again. To me, I can't. I've never, of all the TurboGrafx games that came out. I mean, and there are a lot of great ones. I mean, especially like shooters, like for example, like Nexer, and there was actually a version of Hellfire that they did for TurboGrafx CD, which is fantastic.
Okay.
There's so many great games.
Yeah. This is my plea, dear iArcade gods. Find a way to bring us TurboGrafx on your cabinet, please, because it'll help. Trust me, it'll help.
The
And
Castlevania collection, it will help.
the Castlevania collection, as far as anything that wasn't on the TurboGrafx Castlevania, because this Rondo of Blood was the only one, and that was only in Japan, by the way. But if you want to play it, you could get the PC Engine Mini from Amazon Japan, and they'll ship it to your house in like a day or two. It's not that expensive.
It's on the TurboGrafx. It was on the TurboGrafx.
It was, but that's a rare, obscure version of the
super
console.
expensive now.
It's like a couple $100, but you could still get the PC Engine Mini for like a good price, which has the US games, because both versions, the Japanese and the US, have different sections for US and Japan, and you get all of it either way. So PC Engine, if you want to try those games, they're there. So not that I need to be a shill for it, but I love TurboGrafx, and any chance I get to talk about it, I will talk about it.
Yeah, me too. This is great. I'm so glad that we're discussing TurboGrafx right now, because to me, if I would have had the PC Engine growing up, I mean, my whole video game life would be different, because again, the PC Engine for me was my favorite. I had a friend who had the Japanese PC Engine growing up, and it was amazing. Any games, there's even a PC Engine version of one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, River City Ransom. There's a PC Engine version of that, and it's fantastic. The graphics, the music. I mean,
Did you ever play the Jackie Chan game on the TurboGrafx?
Yes.
It's so good. It's a really good game.
I mean, I have played it all. I love the PC Engine, and so there's no
Splatterhouse was originally on PC Engine. The original Splatterhouse, it's really good. Blazing Lasers, I love Blazing Lasers. That's really good. The one game on Genesis is very similar to Dragon Spirit. I think there was a sequel on TurboGrafx too, Dragon Saber. But Philios, it's a similar game, but like for some reason, anytime I try to emulate the arcade version of Philios, it runs like crap. So I always end up playing the Genesis version. Good game too.
What's your favorite Sega Genesis game of all time?
NHL 94.
Mine is a game that was released, that wasn't released around the time when we were kids playing Sega Genesis. It was released a couple years ago. It's a beat 'em up called Water Margin.
Yeah,
my favorite Genesis game of all time. Fantastic beat 'em up. I love playing it. I love the music. It's actually on. It's actually available through the Evercade now, and through different, emulated through different platforms. And it's ironically, it's included on the, if you get any of the At Games products, like the At Games Legends Gamer Pro or the At Games Arcade. That game is included, and you can play it on the arcade. It's a phenomenal game. It's my favorite Sega Genesis game. But there were so many great Sega Genesis games that
Yeah,
you
and
just, I mean,
it's hard. That's why I thought about it for a minute. But like, if I didn't say NHL '94, I was going to be a damn liar. And I know a lot of people probably like, oh, a sports game. But like, when I played Genesis in that era, sports games were a lot. I feel they're bigger than they are now. Like
oh
now, a
yeah,
sports
yeah,
game, I'm like,
definitely,
I
yeah,
don't want to play that crap. Like I have
yeah.
like no interest. If you want me to play a sports game, bring me an old one. But NHL '94 is like the best hockey game of all time. I played hockey. I loved hockey. I was excited that I was episode 66 because I'm a lifelong Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and that's Mario Lemieux. So, yeah.
Rexer wants to play you. He says, "Let's play Steps." I'm in
Yeah, it's on
online
5K.
leagues for NHL. Yeah, that's awesome.
I should get an online leagues. I haven't,
Oh
I've
my
seen it. I
gosh,
haven't had a
nice.
chance.
That's nice.
Yeah, I need to put that on my list. I want to play, and I haven't played the Super Turbo 3DO version. I need to find a way to emulate that and play that. I don't know why that's like at the top of
That's
my list of things I want to
a
try.
that's one of the best games for the 3DO. Actually, if you want to know what my favorite game for the 3DO of all time was, because I had the 3DO console, my favorite 3DO of all time was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah.
It
It has a
was
different soundtrack.
Oh, and it is the best
It's a CD
it is the
soundtrack.
best home version of that game ever. Like it is to this day, it's still fun to play. Emulate.
Yeah, I need to find to emulate where I haven't even looked into emulating 3DO before. So I just it came to my mind. I was like, I want to play this because I heard the soundtrack on YouTube recommendations, and so something I want to do. But getting on Fightcade and playing NHL '94 would be great. I've gone on there on Fightcade. Usually when I get on, it's like late. It was like after Laundromat Wars or something, and there's nobody there. So yeah, I'm down. I need to practice up. It's been a long time.
And Matthew McConaughey says, all right. So yeah, you definitely got to try that. The 3DO. The 3DO had a few good titles. I'm not gonna lie. They didn't have many, but one of the Road Rash for 3DO was good. Definitely Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was phenomenal. Samurai Showdown was pretty good on 3DO as well. I'm a sucker for the old Wing Commander PC games. So Wing Commander 3, the full motion video game with Mark Hamill and Malcolm McDowell and all them, that was on 3DO, and I loved that on 3DO. And then they did a version called Super Wing Commander, which was basically just like a CGI'd up version of like the original Wing Commander game from back in the day, and that was pretty fun too. Console Fanboy claims I missed his super chat. I thought, let me see here, Console Fanboy. I'm sorry, brother. Let's see here. Here we go. I found it. Thank you, Console Fanboy, for letting me know. I'm trying to go through all these chats here. You guys are amazing.
That, Console Fanboy.
Console Fanboy, this is one of the best shows. Steps is awesome. Yes, you are. See? And look at all the common ground we're finding, all the games we like that we're talking about right now. Your average gamer says Pit Fighter and Primal Rage. I love Pit Fighter, the arcade game. I'm not a fan of any of the home versions of Pit Fighter except the Sega Genesis version.
I believe I've played Primal Rage before. I think it might have made me rage, so I never played it after that. Pit Fighter I never played, but I remember the ads in EGM.
I was just gonna say, the EGM was always selling Pit Fighter to people.
Yeah, it was.
So even though Pit Fighter wasn't particularly a good game, I mean, I had a Super Nintendo growing up, and I sadly had the Super Nintendo version of Pit Fighter.
I'm sorry.
I really feel bad for myself now that I think about that, because had I been a Genesis guy growing up, I had the friends who had Genesis. Had I been a Genesis guy growing up, I would have had the Genesis version of Pit Fighter, and the Genesis version of Pit Fighter is heads and shoulders above anything the Super Nintendo Pit Fighter was trying to do. I mean,
I was hardcore Sega Genesis. I think I mowed yards and got enough money to buy a Genesis at Target. But like when Street Fighter 2 came out for the Super Nintendo, I went and I shoveled a bunch of driveways and I went to buy the Super Nintendo. And I didn't even buy the Super Mario World one. I was like, I don't want that crap. I bought the control deck and I bought Street Fighter 2. And I went home and I was like, I got Street Fighter 2 because Genesis didn't get it till like a year later with Champion Edition. So
yeah, Genesis was but the TurboGrafx version of Street Fighter Championship
it's good. It's really good.
All things considered, considering that a TurboGrafx only has 2 buttons, a controller for the TurboGrafx. So that, I mean,
I will say this. I think that all 3 of the 16-bit systems got a good version of Street Fighter 2 Champions Edition or Champion Edition Turbo, you know, whatever. But they all got good ports, and that's pretty cool. I'm thinking about on my channel just for funsies, start streaming the crap versions of Street Fighter 2.
Now that would be fun, and you got a lot. I think a lot of them are on Fightcade, aren't they? A lot of the crap versions.
You know, I haven't even looked. I know there's a Master System and a Game Boy. I just thought
there's even a Nintendo version of Street Fighter, a bootleg Nintendo version that's actually pretty good as well.
Yeah, I think maybe not even put Master System in the title. Just put crap version of Street Fighter 2 and just make the video.
Rainwater Game says, I don't drink too often, but when I do, Zod needs to take off his shirt. Oh wow. Well, yeah, no, I'm not taking off my shirt. I'm wearing my Mortal Kombat t-shirt that Console Fanboy was wearing in the video that he posted today, so I'm not taking my shirt off. Everybody wants me to take off my shirt, I guess. I don't know. Sharon Peters always wants me to take off my shirt.
Thanks for the
thanks for the
visual.
Yeah. At the end of his show, Zod always takes off his pants. Well, yeah, I do. I like to go bottomless when my shows are over. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of going off the rails now. Oh my God, so many people go live Zohar. I called him out just waiting for him to answer. I'll ask him. Okay, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but we'll leave it at that. But no, so yeah, Sega Genesis. We've talked about TurboGrafx, PC Engine. Are there any systems growing up that you didn't get a chance to play, or you wanted, but you were never able to get?
And well, one was the TurboGrafx, which we talked about, right? The other one, and actually TurboGrafx was cheap. There were sometimes I went to the store and it was like $70, right? Because they're trying to get rid of it. But like I wanted the CD, I think. So I was like, that's too expensive. The other one was Neo Geo. Like,
of course,
everybody
wanted Neo Geo.
You see the Neo Geo in the EGM, and you'd be like, "How much is this?" Like $500. How much is the game cartridge? $250 each. And like, so there was always like a legend. Like you talk to your friends or whatever, and like it was kind of like almost like this myth that people talked about. You'd be like, and nobody had it, right? So one day there's this kid that like moved to the neighborhood. And he's like, I got a Neo Geo. And you're like, I need to come over right now. Let's go see this Neo Geo, right? I'm excited. Let's go see this Neo Geo. I need to see that this is real. And we go over there, and he's got like a Sega Genesis with Special Champion Edition. I'm like, this is not a Neo Geo, you lying sack of crap.
The Neo Geo, I used to see there. We would have like a Babbage's / electronics boutique. And there would be Neo Geo behind the glass, and they had a gold one, a 14-karat gold Neo Geo. And I never could imagine, number one, who could afford it, and if they did, and if they were able to afford it, where were these people who could afford it? I never knew anybody who had one. I'm going to be honest. So it wasn't like, so I didn't get into Neo Geo till much later. But I also, that's another reason, Steps, why I was so excited for the damn MVSX, because that to me was like, well, this is the closest I'll ever get to a Neo Geo. Like that's, you know, it's sort of, because I used to play those games in the in the arcade, but to actually have access to so many of those titles, again.
Yeah. I just like you, everybody wanted to see one because it was just so expensive and so elite and so premium. I still have never seen an AES system. I've never seen a box. I've never seen one. Obviously I got the MVSX. That's the closest I've had. I've played all those
Yeah.
games. And the whole reason I got the MVSX was not because it was Neo Geo. I just saw people like doing stuff like, oh, put this high-low hack on it, and I'm like, I'm buying that. that's,
Right. Like,
that's how
I mean, we knew, because we knew about the high-low hack before the thing came out, pretty much. And my thing was, I was just excited because it came with the 50 games right out of the gate. If it didn't
Yeah.
come with such great games right away, and I love all those fighters, so I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm all in. And this was like, regardless of if we were going to be able to hack it and do the high-low hack and do what's the other hack that they have for it now that people are using, Omega, which I'm really not a fan of Omega. I don't think Omega is all that great, but Omega is cool because you are able to put like the newer Neo Geo games that that are coming out now. Like they just released a Xenocrisis Neo Geo port, and you can, and if you use the Omega emulator through the MVSX, you can play Xenocrisis on the Neo Geo version of Xenocrisis, which is cool, but I'm not a big fan of Omega. I think Omega is kind of weird, but yeah.
Damn, somebody in the chat says they had a Neo Geo.
Good for you. I mean, that's really, really great.
That all I think, if you heard somebody had a Neo Geo, you'd be like, you must be rich, right?
Right. Because nobody got those secondhand, and if anybody actually bought one, you held on to that, and you were probably buried with it because it was so expensive.
Actually, like the way I thought of people that had the TurboGrafx CD, it was like, oh, you must be rich. I thought the same thing about that because it was expensive.
Well, because that the TurboGrafx CD you had to import because that was Japanese only. They didn't do a. They had
a US. They had the US one for the TurboGrafx 16. It was like it went to the back of the console, and it was like $400. I saw
Okay.
I saw it at Toys R Us when I was a kid. You go through the Toys R Us, and that was where I got my video games. You like look through the window and you pull a little ticket.
Because the one I sold a couple years ago was a duo, and
Turbo Duo,
Duo, and it was white, and it came with, and it was the CD, and it had everything, had all the cards, the different graphics cards and stuff that you needed already built in. So you didn't need those. You could just put your discs in and play it. And it was fantastic. I mean, I wish I still had it, but it was, and I had the box and I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, I never had it, but I do have a TurboGrafx Mini and I do have a PC Engine Mini. I have both of them.
And then Console Fanboy wants to know, Zod, who was in your profile pic? Oh, when I went off for a minute, that was me and a very, very, very close friend of mine. Let's see here. I'm testing the game now. Okay, they're talking about something here. Let's see. Oh yeah, from What About Bob? Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a
schizophrenic, and so am I.
Yeah.
I was at Disney World once with my brother. This is probably like 10 years ago or something. And we're walking through Epcot, and we're in line, and I just was like, Dr. Leo Marvin, and my brother wanted to hit me. I just love that movie so much. I actually have a signed What About Bob poster over there on the other side of the room. It's
awesome. Love that movie.
Signed by Richard Dreyfuss.
Awesome.
And maybe I should tell you my Richard Dreyfuss story because it's good.
Yes, please.
Okay. So last summer, there was a horror convention, Days of the Dead, here in Indianapolis, and I went there to meet Alice Cooper and Richard Dreyfuss both. And Richard Dreyfuss has, I get in his line, and he didn't have any What About Bob posters, so I went walking around, found a What About Bob poster somebody was selling, and I get in line, and his wife talks to me. She goes, "Where did you get that poster?" And I go, "Oh, you didn't have one." So I went over there, and they got it, and they go, "I'm gonna go buy them all." I go, "No, this was the last one." And she's like, "We sold out of those." And I was like, it started dawning on me. It's like, no, she doesn't want me to have the What About Bob poster. What's why? you know? And so I get up to Richard Dreyfuss. He looks at the poster and he goes, "You know what? Normally when I get these posters, I just scribble all over Bill Murray and I make sure that he's not even on this poster, but I'm not going to do that this time." So I go, "Okay." I get that. I go down more to his level. I look at him and I go, "You know what? I heard that Bill Murray's a real jerk. I've heard that from multiple people. I know he's an asshole, but you know what? That movie was absolutely hilarious. And he wouldn't have been nearly as funny if it wasn't for you." And he goes, "You need to tell him that." And he signed my poster and we talked for a while. And I don't know. I thought it was.
Oh yeah, because it's no secret that Bill Murray hated Richard Dreyfuss and vice versa. They hated each other on the set of that movie.
Yeah, he told me that Bill Murray threw an ashtray at his face. That's what he told me. I bet I could believe it because Bill Murray was on crack.
And John D wants to know, where can I get the high-low hack? Is that for the PS4? You know it's not for the PS4, John. Stop playing games. Ray Warner Games says, "Third time I dropped my phone on my face, turning into a pumpkin." Okay. Yeah. And Mike Hawk says, "I literally knew only not one person that owned a Neo Geo AES, and I never saw anyone of the two games they had at Babbage's ever move. $650 for a console. It was 1990. Just was not an option." Yeah, it didn't make any sense. It was definitely not priced for home consumption at the time it came out. I'll never understand why. And that's why all it did was sit in the window at Babbage's and Electronics Boutique, like it was just like expensive jewelry, like walking past a jewelry store looking at it like, yeah, that would be nice if you want to mortgage your soul, you can afford to get that.
It's just, yeah, it's I never saw one even in a store.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the games were $200 each, which was more than the other consoles.
You want Samurai Showdown 2? It's $250. Like,
yeah, no, you really weren't. And then, speaking of Neo Geo, they didn't do any better when they came out with the Neo Geo CD. The Neo Geo CD was expensive too, and they just made CD versions. So all you basically had was, you had the CD music, and then the load times were longer. But it was essentially, they were essentially the same games. It wasn't like there was really any exclusives for the Neo Geo CD. I got a $20 super chat here from the great Fighters Evolution. What's up, Fighters Evo? Just want to show some love to the Z-Man. Smash that like button now, everyone. Much respect for having Kristen on the show. Everyone should check out Steps Gaming on YouTube. Absolutely.
I really appreciate Blast. I've been on the phone with him at 4 a.m. He's
fantastic.
He's a true friend. He's a real good guy. And I wish I could participate in more of his tournaments. A lot of times they're on Saturdays. I'm working, at least during the day anyway.
Yeah. Blast the speakers. I had him on late night Q&A not too long ago, and I mean, we had a really in-depth conversation about how Fighters Evolution got started and all that great stuff. And it just really, we're going to be friends forever. It was a bonding experience. And honestly, Steps, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what these types of streams are for. So like anybody watching this stream now can walk away feeling like, oh, I know Steps Gaming now. You know, like it's really a deep dive into your gaming life, what it past, yeah, basically past, present, and future. So thank you again, Fighters Evolution, for the super chat. Much appreciated, brother. Great to see you. I'm so glad that you're here, and always welcome anytime. Fighters Evolution says, "Ah, you guys making me blush. Thank you. It's just the truth. We're just speaking the truth." Blast the Speakers is 100% a good dude. Great dude, man. Totally. Oh, and Console Fanboy wants to know, can you talk about why the name Steps?
Sure. If you see my last name, it's Stevens. It's short. The other thing is, a lot of people know I'm trans. I changed my last name. I was gonna make it like Stevens with a V. I had a friend that said you should use a PH. And when I changed my name, I had to do it really quick because there's timing on things, and that ended up being my last name. It's kind of almost like a bad tattoo. But when I started doing YouTube, I did some streams on I did a lot. I tried to do travel vlogs and Disney vlogs and things like that, and I just went with Steps, and my kids were the little Steps or whatever. And I've just kept that name, Steps. So that's why.
Steps. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's all, and it really, fits for a gaming channel. I love it. Steps Gaming.
Yeah.
It's like almost like you're speaking of some sort of evolution of, the gaming genre, and the changes and the steps that your channel is going through. It all fits. It's all very apropos. So, hey. And Council Fanboy says,
I love it.
That's great. That's great. That was actually a really good question, Council Fanboy. Thank you. And yeah, so now what I have to ask you now, what is your most anticipated release for this year, as far as arcade, retro, anything, whatever game, any game title or anything specifically that you personally are looking forward to for?
Well, I'm looking forward to a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet. I think I'm pretty confident that's gonna happen. I think that would be my number one item. I really hope it has the games on this other one, so I could just have one. That'd make my life easier, But if it doesn't, I'll keep it. My other like sleeper pick as far as like a console game I'm definitely gonna get that Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Hyperstone Heist is on it, Tournament Fighters is on it. Like all those games that we played, everyone played them. They're great, So yeah, those would definitely be the two.
And Console Fanboy says, always wanted to know. I thought it meant her taking steps on how to become the worst MK player ever. Well, we know steps, and I guess we can transition into that for a little bit. About, you've said you were never really a really big Mortal Kombat fan.
No.
No, what was it about Mortal Kombat that didn't really appeal to you?
Well, it's like ever since that Electronic Gaming Monthly issue, when I fell in love with the Street Fighter, when I look through Electronic Gaming Monthly, I'm like, what's Capcom coming at? What's the next Capcom coming out with? Like
the Eternal Champions cover.
I really was a big Capcom person. And even when I played Nintendo games back before Street Fighter, I like a lot of my favorite games were Capcom. You got DuckTales and Mega Man and all of that. But Mortal Kombat, I did rent, and I remember renting it for the Super Nintendo first, and it was sweat, not blood. And I did own a copy of Mortal Kombat 2 on the PC, and I did own a copy of Mortal Kombat 3 on the PC, and at one time I owned a copy of Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PlayStation. Okay, so those are the only Mortal Kombat games I've ever owned. I just think like it was so I didn't like the fatalities. I didn't like the violence. It wasn't for me, okay? I almost felt like if you lost, it was like I don't know, it made me feel terrible because I just got like decapitated. I don't
Someone
know,
was
like I
someone was
just
walking on your grave.
I was just like, I don't know about this, and like I I I shouldn't say I hate Mortal Kombat. I use the words I hate Mortal Kombat, but like it's I don't know. It's not my lane, It's definitely not. Did I just go along with it when I was on the Laundromat War? Sure. But when I was emotional, I'm just like, guess what, people? I hate Mortal Kombat. That's what came out of my
Well,
mouth.
let's be fair. And let's be fair. When Street Fighter the movie, the game, was prominent during that Laundromat Wars period, that kind of took away a little bit from Mortal Kombat because there was some hype surrounding Street Fighter the movie, the game, with its similarly digitized graphics and the Street Fighter style
Mhm.
influxed with a Mortal Kombat type skin.
Well,
So
I will tell you this. I never played Street Fighter the movie, the game, before the Laundromat Wars. Even though I was a Street Fighter fan, when I looked at it, I go, I'm not playing this crap. I didn't, I played Street Fighter EX, but I never played Street Fighter the movie, the game. And when I played the game and the Laundromat Wars, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually really enjoy the game, much like when I found Rondo of Blood, and
Rondo of
honestly,
Blood.
like I probably would buy a Street Fighter the movie, the game cabinet. I think the game's a hell of a lot of fun. Now, would I go on Fightcade and try to I'm the type of person that would go on Fightcade secretly and like try to play Mortal Kombat and get better at it just to prove I could do it. Just like when I was in college, I took trigonometry for no good reason, you know? But like I don't know, like Mortal Kombat just it just isn't my lane. Part of me like, I curse a little bit today. But part of me is kind of trying to I don't know, like when I do a show, I see myself as like PG-13 or maybe 1990. Like in 1990s, when you went to a rated R movie, they weren't really that bad. I got kicked out of rated R movies when I went underage. I don't know why. It might be because they said the F word 2 times and somebody got shot in True Lies. Like True Lies I don't think True Lies would be rated R today, right? But like Mortal Kombat would. And so I don't know. Like I see I just I guess I feel like I'm PG-13 to a degree.
So you identify as PG-13. That's
Yeah, I think so, but not
okay.
quite. I'm not as bad as Jeff Rainwater. Definitely not as bad as Rainwater. I mean, I will say curse words. I've said a few on a stream. So maybe I'm 1990s rated R, I
Yeah,
guess.
I try not to curse at all on streams unless it's absolutely necessary, unless I'm absolutely angry
That's a good
to the
idea.
point of where I feel like it's actually justified for me to
Yeah.
curse. And that happened to me a couple streams ago on a stream I was doing exposing a couple of people. But that was a stream where I had gotten I the chat had gotten me riled up because people were coming into my chat trying to get me angry and trying to get me upset. And then I dropped an F-bomb like a baseball umpire. And my and I told my mods, okay, it's time for you to get them out of here. Like, get them the F out of here. It was really like theatrical in the sense that, yeah, I did feel like a baseball umpire. And at that point, it was just, but again, for the most part, yeah, I consider myself to be pretty PG when I'm on my streams, except when I'm reading, other people's comments and they might swear in their comments. And then, that's console fanboy says Street Fighter, the movie, the game, may quite possibly be the worst fighting game in the history of all fighting games. Please don't tell OTG. That's one thing I want to remind everybody. OTG actually built himself out of one of the old I think it was an old Generation 1 up. He made a Street Fighter, the movie, the game, an actual cabinet. I mean, and it came out looking great. It really did.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that video. I remember that being a good video.
Yeah,
I'd
I was like,
forgotten about it.
wow, like he did a great job, and it had, it actually looked like you could see it being, how the cab might have actually looked back in the day. I mean, it was really nice. Let's see. Console Fanboy said Rainwater is rated G.
That's true.
I'm rated R. Sharon Peters is rated triple X.
That's also true.
That's also very true. If you look at Sharon Peters' Twitter page, she is not afraid to say how she feels.
Here's what I'm going to say to Console Fanboy. I will give Mortal Kombat another chance. I will try to learn Mortal Kombat 1 because I think that might be easiest for me to learn over the other ones.
It's the best one out of all of them, if you ask me.
But I have to find the time. That's the problem.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat 1 is the one I like to play, although I do like to play the Mugen versions of Mortal Kombat where they have like tons and tons of characters, and you can play it on your PC with like a fight stick, and you can do all kinds of crazy fatalities, and there's tons of variants on characters and stuff. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
I know you're a big fan of Mortal Kombat 1, just like that Console Fanboy is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it might be more difficult for me to do 2 or 3. I was never that good at that game at all. Like, at least I casually played Street Fighter with people that thought they were good.
Yeah, I casually played Street Fighter as well, but Street Fighter for me didn't. I guess Street Fighter didn't. I'm a big Street Fighter fan though, but
Yeah.
Street Fighter just didn't impact me on the level that Mortal Kombat did. Like I have like I absolutely love the Street Fighter 2 animated movie that came out in the 90s. Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
The Street Fighter movie? Or you say Street Fighter or the Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter 2 animated movie that came out.
Yeah, I know the movie. Yes.
The anime.
I to be honest with you, I've never seen the anime, but I know of it.
God.
I know of it. There's a Blu-ray and all that good stuff. And I probably should watch it. Like I always was about playing the games, and I did see the 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme movie in the theaters. Oh, so Fighters Evo's talking about final round, and I think Sosa said it had to be on a Sunday. So I hope they do it soon, because the Sunday Night Turbo is going to start soon. So, but I will definitely be there for that one because
that Street Fighter 2 animated movie is phenomenal.
Way better. Yeah.
Oh, it is. I mean, it makes you respect Street Fighter on a whole nother level. It is amazing. Like I love it. I mean, especially if you like the the live action movie, and then you see this and you're just like, what? Like this movie was. There's even a thing at the end where they actually advertise in the ending credits of the animated movie. They actually advertised the 1994 Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. It says Street Fighter coming to theaters starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. They actually say that in the end credits. It's unbelievable. But the movie is so good, and I don't know why I mean, that's a movie that they should have put in theaters, honestly, that animated movie. Let's see, Zod. This show is your top 5 easily, actually top 3. Yeah, it is. This is amazing. This has been an amazing stream. You know what? And I think I want to go ahead and kind of start wrapping things up a little bit. So I want to get your final thoughts on where you see the home arcade community going, and what are some of the things that you're looking forward to seeing as this community continues to grow, because right now we are still a relatively small community.
Yeah. So I think that online gameplay is obviously the most important thing that we need to nail down, right? Because even the big dog, Arcade One Up, is not giving us a consistent experience. They are if you like Capcom. Um, they're giving
Yeah,
you
come on, I
consistent
want that
experience.
I need that red earth cab. Let's go.
But you're not getting consistent experience, the same experience you get on the Capcom cabinets that you do on the KI and the Mortal Kombat and things like that. And they really need to find a way that they have a software that works with all their stuff so it's consistent and it has all these things, right? I think that's very important, especially things like spectate mode, HDMI, things like that, because you want people to be putting this stuff out there. You want people to see people playing this and you want them to want to buy one, right? And they're not setting themselves up for that. They're setting themselves up for just, I think, the nostalgia market, which works. I mean, that's we're going to be their number one seller. But like this here and getting this community engaged and people hyped on your cabinet and people seeing people playing on your cabinet will also will help you grow your business. And so I think that's important. And the iArcade is working on that as well. They're a little bit further behind, but they are definitely working in that direction because they understand the importance of the online community. So I think that's something that is on everyone's mind of importance, whether they say it is or not. I think that's definitely what's going to grow the community in general. It's I don't know. That's like really my best answer. Really, I think the online gameplay is the number one thing, and getting it right
It's got to be
and give
standard now.
it
Yeah.
really does. Because if you get a PlayStation or an Xbox, it doesn't matter which one you get. You're getting a consistent experience.
Yeah,
You are.
yeah, yeah. You definitely are. I think online gaming is definitely where we are, where the focus will continue to be. Um, but you've got your channel, and you are starting to build your channel in an innovative way to the point where you've got your new show coming out.
Mhm.
I am really, really looking forward to it. I cannot wait to see what you bring with all your talent and awesomeness. I want to thank you so much for
I
being
so
here.
appreciate that.
This has been great. This has been
I've had a fun time.
one of the most fun Q&As I think I've done since I've been doing this show. And this is like this is in the 60s here. This is like episode 66. I mean, I've been doing late night Q&A for a while, and console fanboy wants to know, and I guess this will be the last question: when's the new show actually start?
Yeah, it's gonna be sometime in August, but we're gonna have to do some warm-ups per se, maybe some showcase matches on different cabinets to test everything to make sure we're ready to bring you a good tournament, right? So I would say I have a vacation that's coming up next weekend. It's gonna be for a week. And right after that, I'm hoping to start running some tests and maybe some practice shows and showcase matches. And then I hope to get a concrete date um, about hopefully this weekend, if not early next week, as far as what the outlook is for the actual start. So um, that's what I got going on right now. I did get the cabinet streaming. I need to add the audio, and I need to get some background layouts, and I need to organize some people for these test streams.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like it's going to be great. I can't wait. Personally, I'm super excited. Uh, Thank you to everybody in the chat who was here tonight for this great stream. If you haven't already subscribed to Steps Gaming, please do so.
Subscribe to ZodWriter.
If you're not subscribed to me by now, it's probably because you don't like me, and I understand that. But again, definitely subscribe to Steps Gaming. Steps is going places and taking steps to bring the community even closer together. So you guys, I mean, you guys do not want to miss out. Even if I'm not participating in the tournaments, if I can't get myself an $18 Big Blue, I, but I will definitely be there to support whatever you do in the future steps. I'm super excited.
Thank you,
This
Zod.
was
Thank
awesome. I'll
you,
definitely be
everyone.
bringing you back. I'll definitely be bringing you back here whenever possible to talk about more of this great stuff. This has been so great.
I
And
appreciate that, and thanks to all the engagement from everybody that came and watched. I hopefully I acknowledged all of you at some point during the
even
show.
we've even got to thank the lurkers who were here that didn't comment. Thank you very much for being here and watching, because even if you hate me, it's still engagement. So it's
Yeah,
fantastic. I love it. I love you all. I don't,
I love
doesn't
the haters.
matter.
I love the lovers. I love
It's all great.
the bypassers.
And I will be back tomorrow night with another episode of Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. It's going to be starting a little bit earlier than what normally. It's going to be 9:30 p.m. Central, and I'm going to be interviewing Abu Nas. So if you guys like Abu Nas, you guys are going to want to definitely check out tomorrow night's show. But on that note, thank you all for watching. I will see you all on the next one. Subscribe to Steps, and good night, everybody.